I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Everybody else can hear it.
I've got an echo. Does anybody else have an echo?
I do too.
Yeah, I got a little bit of it. Yeah.
Let me leave and come back in. Could be me. I don't know.
Let me.
Hey guys, we are live right now. We didn't have the intro because I wasn't sure with everybody else streaming. I didn't want to have any copyright issues. So you are live now.
Grace and peace, everybody. We are in the building. Thank you so much for stopping by. We are the Dangerous Liberty podcast, as well as got a couple of hosts and guests and such of that nature. So my name, of course, is Jason from the JWhit podcast. Let me go ahead and cue it over to my guest, Gary. Tell us, Jared, rather, how are you doing, friend?
I'm doing all right, brother. How are you?
No complaints at all. Not a complaint in the world.
Just a quick intro. My name's Jared. I've got the channel Continue Freedom over on YouTube, Rumble, and X. And I'm an Army veteran, small business owner, and I talk about politics, culture, all those fun things on the internet.
All those non-controversial things. I love it. I love it. I love it. Joe, how are you, brother?
I'm doing great. If you guys don't know, I am Joe Redden, otherwise known as the Older Millennial Online. I have a great cooking show where I discuss recipe. No, I'm just kidding. I talk about politics. I like to try to offend people. I like to try to upset people, and I'll do my damnedest to do that tonight.
Let's make it happen. Let's do it. Let's do it. Clerpatriot, how are you?
Doing great. How are you this evening? Excited to see everybody.
Quite well. You got to do it. Tell us who you are, what you're about.
I'm Clerpatriot across all platforms. I mostly hang out on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, and I talk politics and current events, sometimes talk about celebrity crazy news. That's my thing.
That's your jam. I love it. I love it. Nish Perez, how are you?
I'm doing great. I hope you guys are as well.
We are. Go ahead.
Well, I am the good woman on TikTok and X. That's all the ones that I did. And I essentially got pushed into this by Candace pretty much. So that's all I have talked about so far.
I love it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about it. Yesterday there was the quote unquote debate. I'm gonna now affectionately call it the discussion. That was not a debate. Yesterday there was the discussion between Andrew and Candace. And Pat PBD hosted it and moderated it for whatever it was worth. I think it was actually pretty good, but I want to hear from my guests here as well. If you don't mind, what do you feel like Candace had to demonstrate or Andrew had to demonstrate to sway you or bring you over? Let's start with Jared.
We were kind of talking about it before the show. If anything that has been claimed by Candace Owens had been brought forward, that would have lent at least a little bit of credibility. Now, I'll admit that I'm pretty confident in the stance that I have, but if all these things that we've been told exist that have not been produced, that are part of this whole coming soon campaign that she has used to build this true crime show that's been going on for a year, if a sliver of it had been delivered, I would have said, okay, there's legit information out there that maybe we don't have. I didn't expect that. Deep down, I kind of hoped that maybe something like that would come out, that she would deliver. But I think that not because I'm any supporter of Candace, but because maybe she actually was holding some little sliver of data. And that was just such a bridge too far because she's established herself, in my opinion, as a grifter, as a liar, and that this has been a coordinated campaign based on spite and jealousy and, whatever, her ideological differences with TPUSA and with other people. It's just this vindictive campaign. And I had hoped on Andrew's side that he would have come out and said, okay, I've got the evidence on my side. When we get to these topics, press her to say that she doesn't have this or that she actually doesn't have that. She just says that she does. And I think those were some missed opportunities that he didn't take. He called her on a lot of things, but it felt like the conversation just kind of fizzled away into something else. And they went to the next topic without grilling it. I think that's where the repetitive content post debate would have been found, is if, no, you still haven't answered the question. You still haven't, I think Rage Bronson posted it. And he was in his live stream. He said, complicit in what? Complicit in what? Complicit in what? He never would answer the stinking question.
Facts.
He finally gave a version of an answer. It was twisted, and it was, complicit in the narrative. Even though Candace Owens and all of her people and all of the lemmings below her, they took it and ran with complicit in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which is what they've been saying. That was a backtrack on her part. And so to say that there was a victory in that, I think was a bit of one, but it went largely unnoticed by most of the people. And I will shut up on this part and say that I don't think that we were really the winners or that Candace's people were the winners. If you look at the online content, I think it's actually driven us further into our corners. And it really was $300,000 wasted, in my opinion.
Okay.
Oh, I also learned that Patrick Bet David was a terrible debate moderator.
Yes.
I don't think he was prepared for it. I don't think he was prepared
later in the show, but
yeah, I'll come back to that. Yeah. Clerpatriot, give me your summation.
So I think the only thing that we did get out of it is I personally left. I already had my mind made up because from the beginning I've known that Candace Owens was grifting. But the fact that she sat there and just didn't answer anything and really everything was based on her feelings. And I think that's what we got out of this for me personally, is that we saw that she finally admitted none of this was based on evidence. This was all just how she felt because she said it sitting there. I do think that Andrew should have pressed her more on some of the things. But I think going forward, if there is any sort of lawsuit that comes after the trial, she just admitted that she did all this based on feelings. And I think that that will really help any sort of court case that has to happen with Erica Kirk, TPUSA. I also feel like the fact that she couldn't admit that, so she's openly said, and they played videos that Erica Kirk was complicit. She believes that they're all in cahoots with Israel and blah, blah, blah. She never would actually address that when sitting in the chair. And even after they played the video, she's just like, what? You didn't answer any questions. So at the end of the day, for me, I feel like the only thing I took from it, which it was a massive disappointment in my opinion, because we didn't get answers to anything. But the only thing I took is that we all should realize, and I feel like anybody on her side should realize, that this whole thing going against TPUSA and Erica Kirk is just based on a jealous woman's feelings. That's where I'm at.
No, I agree. And by the way, thank you to everybody who's in the live chat. If you could, please make sure that you hit the like button. Let everybody know that you're here. Make sure you say what's up to the good people, all that kind of good jazz. If you want to, tell us who you think was the most clear in their answer. Was it Andrew? Was it Candace? We'll be definitely checking it out over there. But right now, Joe, what about you? What did you think about the discussion yesterday?
Well, I was hoping to see a debate, but I ended up more disappointed than an American woman and an Asian man. But it was just because, like, what I was hoping for was to actually hear Candace have to defend her claims, right? Because the way it started out was we had to pretend that we were as interested in hearing Andrew, and this is everyone. We had to pretend the internet was as interested in hearing Andrew defend his claims as we were in Candace defending hers. Like, Andrew's kind of new to the fight on this, but Candace has been making claims since day one, she's the one making insane claims. Andrew is out here just saying, hey, I'll wait for the evidence. I'll wait for people to tell me what the truth is, wait for people to show me what the evidence is. And she's been making crazy claims, but we had to spend the first 2 hours addressing the state's case. And that wasn't what any of us were there to hear. None of us were there to hear.
Facts.
What did the prosecutor say? Like, we all watched the trial. We all watched we watched the preliminary hearing. God forbid Candace takes that out of contest and says, I don't know the difference between a trial and a preliminary hearing. But the reality is we were there to have her defend her claims, and we had to wait 2 hours and 14 minutes for her to do that for the first time. And that was extremely disappointing. And I was even more disappointed. I was a little bit disappointed in Andrew's fact checkers, but I was even more disappointed in his inability to read the fact checks they gave him, because they routinely gave him fact checks where the last sentence of the fact check proved his point and he failed to read it. And I was yelling at my screen. I wanted to punch my monitor. I was so angry about it. But I mean, it did help reveal that she had no actual answers for any of the claims she's made. She had no actual evidence. But, with all the candy sexuals in the chat that we see right now that are just obsessed and think she was right, it didn't do much to prove that. I think it was a waste of $300,000. I think it was a waste of Andrew's time. And PBD is a waste of a moderator, so that made it even worse. It's like when you got one of the candidates, one of the people doing the debate looking to you for help the whole time and asking you questions the whole time. I was like, oh, this is a PBD quiz show.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so I was massively disappointed in Andrew. I was massively disappointed in the format, but I mean, I guess there's only so much you can get out of Candace for $300,000.
I got you. Lady Perez?
So for me, I know that whoever talks the most loses, basically. So I didn't know if that was just strategy. That was infuriating to me at first, where she's just filibustering and she's gish galloping, just like throwing lie after lie after lie, not letting, and I watched, what the people in the back that were doing the fact checking were saying. They're like, what are we going to do? Stop it every 2 minutes because she keeps lying? Like, what were they supposed to do? Just continue every other minute pulling up another fact check? So maybe they could have had a better system of fact checking where they pop it up on the side without interrupting the conversation. But yeah, I
do
feel
think that
like
would have been better.
I feel like they had a strategy with letting her talk, essentially showing that she has no receipts. And I think it made it more clear that her show is for entertainment purposes only, because she would not repeat anything that he was trying to get her to back up her claims.
Yes.
She would not repeat them. She kept referring back to her show for a reason, because during the debate, she was not on her show, so it wasn't entertainment purposes. So she didn't want to get herself in a pickle, as she said. But she kept referring to her show because in her show, she could say, well, I'm an entertainer. That's what my YouTube channel is labeled as. So she can say whatever she wants. And she let us know that too. So that's my take.
No, I appreciate it. What would you say, anybody, feel free to jump in. What do you think would be the strongest point for the person that you thought lost, if you will? What would you think would be the strongest point that they made?
Well, I
Anybody
think
want
the
to jump
audience lost. So I think we as the audience lost. So,
all right, go ahead.
But I mean, the reality is Candace lost. The reality is that we had a 4-hour discussion, and she offered no evidence of anything. In fact, she misquoted so many things. Like one of the most ridiculous things was her saying, "Oh, well, everything in the preliminary hearing was hearsay," and then she quoted Rule 1210 or whatever the hell she quoted, right?
Yeah.
But again, what that rule says is that it allows hearsay. It doesn't mean everything in there was hearsay. Like a medical report is not hearsay. Police report, charging document, none of that is hearsay. And he let her get away on it. And that's why I was like, he had so many opportunities to dunk on her, and he missed every single one of them.
So let me jump in and ask all of you all this. Is it possible that, because this was definitely a different Andrew, thumbs up if you agree. This was a different Andrew, right? Okay. I wasn't
Chihuahua Andrew, I heard.
Right. But is it possible that we got a different Andrew because they wanted Andrew to do the foaming at the mouth, yelling back and forth, that same thing he did when he was debating Zach, or when he was debating Stu Peters, that constant yelling back and forth, nobody's listening, everybody's just going back and forth. Because I personally think he was trying to restrain himself to allow her to keep talking and make a fool of herself, because she is, as Lady Perez said, she's given us a lot. The one that talks the most loses, or as the scriptures say, in the multitude of words, there's sin. So she sinned a whole bunch, right? Just by just yammering. And they gave us a lot of it. And to build off of what you said, Joe, nobody really came here to watch Andrew defend a point that we all agree with. We didn't need that. He wasn't going to convince us. We wanted to see her fail. And I needed the I think she did.
We needed the Andrew that does he asks you a question and then you don't answer it, and he asks you the same question again.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, well, you didn't answer my question. And then when she says she did, you go, okay, then go ahead and answer it again. Like and the thing
the past conversation.
Like, she was like, I feel like I'm talking to my father. He should have treated her like that because she acted like a child.
No, yeah, I agree with you 100%. Go ahead.
She did almost like punish him with filibustering when he did try to do that. She was like, how many times are we going to have to answer this? How many times are we going to have? I think we beat the horse, enough. I've answered this enough times. So he didn't want to continue hearing that, I bet, throughout the entire hour and a half, because she would have called it out, called it off. She would have gotten tired of it. I don't know.
But I
That's
think I kind of think that was his responsibility to do because of the claims that she's made. And even Andrews admitted that he does match energy, and you can listen to him in some debates. He's very calm. He's the stuff that goes viral on the internet is him being more aggressive. So and that's kind of what he's known for. He calls it blood sport debating, and that's kind of his take. But in this one, I think environment was a portion of it. The audience was another component that caused him to take the calmer approach. The environment when you're sitting that close, it's kind of hard to get in a yelling match with somebody, and you look great. Plus, I think that JWhit, I know you quoted the scripture, but there's also I think it was Socrates or Sophocles or one of those people said, "I've often regretted my speech, but never my silence." And he did let her dig a lot of holes, but right. I think to Joe's point, there were so many opportunities for him to kind of come off the top rope, and she didn't. Some things that she did that he worked her into a corner, because he did ask the questions, and he asked them numerous times. The complicit in what question is something he asked like 5 or 6 times, like complicit in what? So you're saying she's complicit in what again? And then it was like word vomit. And then, okay, you still haven't answered the question. Complicit in what? And that's the one that I almost wish they had just hung on that one. Like you need to answer it. And it caused her though to backtrack. She said, "Oh, complicit in the narrative." The same thing happened with Israel. She has been Israel did it. And it wound up being, well, I couldn't say Israel was on the ground and shot and killed Charlie Kirk. So that was a version of a backtrack. And then Tyler Robinson is a patsy.
Yes.
I believe that he's a patsy, not that he is a patsy. I believe he's a patsy, which is a perfectly, I don't want to say based on the evidence, it's a stupid position to have, but it's fine. If you want to have one, you can. But everything that she has taken is going in the positive. It is the accusation and doing it with such confidence that millions of people believe it. And she soft-stepped every bit of that in this conversation, but she does it ad nauseum on her show. So I wish that he had kind of stuck in on a lot more of those points and really gotten her to, I think that what hurt them, and then I'll shut up, was the clips that they brought up. Where was Nathan Livingstone? Where were the Nathan Livingstone matches? Come to the rescue of this whole thing.
Right.
Just play a 2-minute Nathan Livingstone mashup, and here's all the stuff that she has word vomited on the internet for the past year. So
I agree.
Yeah.
Shout out, if you don't know who Nathan Livingstone is, that's Milk Bar TV. In the chat, in honor of Milk Bar, go ahead and flood Milk Bar TV in the chat. We need him to know that we appreciate him. I'm pretty sure if you didn't even know who he was, if you didn't know his name, you know his product. He has been crushing it on this topic of pointing out Candace's duplicity. Shout out, put Milk Bar in the chat. Just flood it. Let him know we appreciate him. Okay, were you about to say something, Nish?
Well, I watched Steven Crowder's, live, and they're the ones doing the fact checking, right?
Facts.
So they did play Milk Bar on the show, and they had it ready. But if you didn't see them, they were kind of like another video, another fact check. So it's almost like they were having a disagreement of like how much to fact check. And they had them running around trying to figure out which is the perfect one to show. Yeah. So.
Which is I guess is a good problem to have. Sad to say what we're discussing it, but there's so much evidence out there to point out. And that's what I hope that Cantifa actually does, is look at it and say, wow, your leader, your false Lord and Savior sat there and vacillated and flopped around like a trout for almost 3 hours and really didn't give you anything new. Didn't give you anything substantive that you can say, okay, here is some proof and some evidence. Not even as much as an email. Actually, the whole story about the French assassination plot morphed and changed. Like that changed in 4K. Like, wow, that's different. So,
I am curious if they're going to follow up with Joe Kent on that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, when she dimed him out. And she was like, well, Joe Kent, I mean, my sword. It was like, oh, don't say those two things back to back.
Yeah.
A girl,
Just walk away.
look, you could have just lied and just said a sentence about Joe Kent. But damn, when you said Joe Kent, I mean, my source, like, wait, okay, now we know why Joe Kent lost his security clearance and wasn't involved in any of the meetings.
There we go. There we go.
Like she just dimed on. I just imagine Joe Kent in that moment watching it, going, "Bitch!" Like he was just so unhappy.
No, I agree with you 100%.
I'm shocked.
Go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was
No,
just going to
please.
say, I'm still shocked with how many of the Candy Cole is still commenting that she won that debate and that Tyler Robinson's a patsy, and she would not say why she believed or had evidence of Tyler Robinson being a patsy. And everything she was bringing up, she was saying everything in the pretrial was hearsay. Everything Candace Owens brings up is hearsay. Like, she's like, I have an anonymous source that told me, and that's how I know. I know
Right.
this because, and I'm like, girl, you can't say that you don't want to listen to hearsay in general, even though the pretrial is not all hearsay, but you can't have a problem with hearsay when your whole platform is hearsay. Like,
I mean,
and
really.
then, and their whole
She was picking
goal
and
is like,
choosing. Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
In defense of the people on the internet who say that Candace Owens won that debate, I just want to point out there were people, very well-known people on the internet, who said Joe Biden won that last debate. So, like, you have to understand that people on the internet are stupid.
It's a very
You almost made me spit my water out my nose.
Well, like you said, Clerpatriot, like she was saying how everything was hearsay and it was unreliable, but then she then used that as a reason why Tyler was a patsy, and then picked some of the testimony from whatever
Yep.
Lance Twiggs to back her claim up. So I'm like, okay, so is it reliable for court or is it reliable for you? Which one? Can't do both.
And it was that, honestly, that was part, if you guys remember the motion that was filed by the defense here recently, that was why they were trying to get the aggravator of discharge of a firearm in the presence of a child, which is under 14, I believe. And it was essentially their argument was they don't want the judge to make an inference on top of 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 an inference. And that was what they were trying to make. However, the case is still, and that's one that, I was talking to Gil, the lawyer Gil, about that. And he said that this is something you can do. Like, if there's evidence there for that, you can make inferences that are logical inferences based off evidence. However, that's the problem, is that the evidence, where's the evidence for hers? You can't just make an inference on top of an inference on top of an inference to get to whatever conclusion, or whatever wild theory you're trying to put forward. And that's what she does. The whole thing about all of this is evidence. Where's the evidence? Give us the evidence, Candace. And she cannot produce it, but she can do the same thing, which is, well, if this is true, then let's take these 12 steps to get to my end state. And this is now true, and it proves it. Like, and that's it. And that's where she goes with it.
There you go.
And
So I think one of my biggest, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it frustrates me to no end that people fall for it. But just like, Claire, I think it was you that said it. I can't remember if it was you or Nish, but it's the entertainment thing. It's why she treats it like entertainment. And I can do that because I'm just here to entertain. I'm drawing a story. I'm making a true crime documentary out of my best friend, and I'm making millions, baby. That's,
I guess one of the things I was most disappointed in, and I want to hear what you all were disappointed about, is I was disappointed that it wasn't a true debate. I wanted a true collegiate level. You have an opening, you have an opening. You make a claim, I rebut it. And I wanted that back and forth type of situation with the time limit and all that kind of stuff like that. Again, that's why I just call it a great conversation, because it definitely was not a great debate. And I don't know if maybe, personally, I believe Candace knew that, because she doesn't do live conversations like this. So this is probably the second one that I've seen where she had an adversarial conversation with somebody. The only other one I found is the Blair White one, which was a complete and total dumpster fire. But I guess one of my biggest disappointments was that it wasn't a true debate where we can literally sit down and go by point by point by point, claim by claim, and say, man, she did a great job of arguing this, or man, Andrew really, flamed her here. And that would be my biggest disappointment as it relates to what did not happen on yesterday, or the point that was not pushed or pressed. I think the only thing in the discussion I hated rather, was that I thought Andrew was on a great track and he was talking about what would it take for you to basically put your child up to be sacrificed like this, and not would a gag order really stop you? Would a gag order really stop you? And I think I speak clearly on behalf of all of us who are parents in here. No. Oh no. No, I will gladly be in jail tomorrow and my child will be free, because I will absolutely say no. I will absolutely I will flame the gag order. He didn't press. I mean, he pressed her, but I think he should have stayed right there. He should have parked the car, pulled the keys out the ignition, and sliced the tires. We're going to stay right here until further notice. We're not going anywhere. But those are the two things that really disappointed me as relates to this entire thing. You want to tell me what, maybe Joe? What about you?
Well, that was the biggest problem, was the format. Because like I said, we came into this, and I turned my volume up a little bit. I don't want to be too loud. I just had people in the chat telling me I was kind of low.
Turn,
But
you can turn it up,
and I generally am a loud person, so I turned my volume down generally. So, but the reality was that, again, we came into this with a false premise that we wanted to hear each side defend their side. When nobody gave the slightest shit about Andrew's side of it. The way the format should have been, it should have been set up. Hey, Candace, you've made all these claims. I am going to have you defend these claims. It should have been PBD saying, on August 2nd, you tweeted this was a fact. Okay, now, Andrew, what is your question regarding that fact? He asked her for facts. She has none. Cool, you suck. Let's move on to the next one. And that would have been the way to do it, because that's what people wanted. People wanted her to finally have to defend in person with no way to confuse it between tweets or send me a text from 2018 or tell me Charlie told me this in a wet dream. Like, you have to come to the facts and give me your actual defense for it, because you made these claims. Like, we had no requirement that she had to answer for the fact she brought up a dude who was one of the most least credible people I've ever met in my life, and told me that he accidentally walked into a skiff, which doesn't happen, or told me that Brian Harpole was at Huachuca, or any of the insane claims she made. Instead, she was being held to, hey, have you seen the receipt? Like, it was almost as if Andrew came in and was told, hey, you don't get to talk about the really salacious shit she said. You only get to talk about the stuff that she won't look like a total fool trying to defend. So it was just insane. The format was dumb. The way the moderator, if you can even call him that, he needs to go back to his own show and act like he's important over there, because he did a terrible job on this. Actually asking somebody, he had a 22-minute discussion with her where Andrew's just sitting there sweating, just sitting there, just doing nothing. And it was insane to me. It was the dumbest format with a bad moderator, with actual no debate and no questions set up. And it was like, that's what none of us came to see.
Yeah. I'm wondering how much of that might have been behind, because you heard them talk about negotiating, and that's actually why the show started late. They were negotiating. Maybe they did pull some of those questions out. Maybe some of this.
Right now, he deserves some of his money back.
Right. He definitely deserves some change. Absolutely. What about you, Clerpatriot? Anything that stood out to you?
What really disappointed me was the moderator, for sure, because instead of actually, when Andrew was pressing Candace, she would just keep throwing back old tweets at him instead of answering questions. And I'm like, moderator, what are you doing?
Yeah.
There wasn't any format with it, and it felt like it was just moderator and Candace on a team, and then Andrew, and it was just very bizarre. If they had formatted it better and actually had someone there that was like kind of middle of the road and listened to both sides and all the things, it would have been an actual debate. But I felt like we didn't see that because of that. And I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, like you said, it was a conversation, and then Candace wasn't pressed on anything. And for her to, and every time he's bringing something up, like the Patsy thing over and over again, she's like, "You're going to bring up are we going to talk about your like what?" Yeah.
I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna go a little bit off script. Somebody keeps saying that Andrew didn't know the charges. I'm gonna tell you this. My name is Jason, JWhit at JWhit.com. I don't believe Candace knew those.
Yeah.
I believe those were read to her in her ear. The fact that she read those off verbatim, how they are on the charging document, but she doesn't know anything else that's on the charging document. Boy, get out of here with that stupid stuff.
But
You know, good
the
daggone
worst
well.
part about that was like when Tucker Carlson asked Ted Cruz, do you know the population of Iran? And it's like, man, that ain't got nothing to do. We're trying to reduce that population. Like, it don't matter if you know the population.
Right. And so, but just to finish up, because I see somebody keep saying he didn't know the charging documents. Man, go somewhere and sit down with that stupid stuff. She didn't know it either.
I don't think so either.
They were reading it into her ear. She had an earpiece on her left side. Andrew had one on his right side, so you wouldn't see it on the camera. But you can see Andrew's periodically. And we know that PBD had them both in his ear. Forget you. And the horse that you rode in on, they read that to her in her ear. Forget you. Okay, I just want to get that out of there. I just want to make somebody mad in the chat. So please go and go kick rocks. Enjoy your celestial rock kicking from here to Pluto. I don't care. They read that to her. Okay, now, Nish, what about yourself? Was there anything that disappointed you? I'm going to go with, I don't think she's muted herself.
No, you muted Nish.
Nish is muted. I'm going to mute.
This is like that. This is like Zoom call procedure.
Yeah. You're on mute. So I'm going to go ahead and put Jared on the spot. Jared, what about you, my friend?
Yeah, I think that if it had been pitched a little differently, that I hate to say the same thing. I've kind of highlighted the thing that really frustrated me, which was the lack of pressing. But the format, I want to reiterate a couple of things on the format. It should have been, as opposed to a debate, because look, Andrew and how can I rephrase this? Okay, so Andrew's debating the facts, and all this stuff has been made wildly public, and everybody has access to the same information that Andrew Wilson does, to include everybody that supports Candace. They can all read it too. They just don't for whatever reason, and don't, or if they do, they don't believe it. She's the one who has come in the negative and saying, no, none of that is credible, and here's all my credible information. I think it should have been phrased, instead of a debate, as Candace Owens answers questions. And when she doesn't, because there really was no back and forth debate. She didn't really ask Andrew anything, to Claire's point, other than, well, what about you saying Erica Kirk is too retarded to run TPUSA? You really think? And she hung on that for minutes, like 5 minutes. She was hanging
right. She was troubled by that. She was shook by it.
And she hung on his tweet where he mentioned whatever it was, 4 or 5 pieces of evidence. And you're telling it, and to make as big a deal out of it, of a tweet or an X post, as as if it's somewhere on the same level as a woman who's been running an internet show with millions and millions of viewers, that's the same thing, was it was ludicrous. So that was about the only back and forth that we got from anybody.
Fair.
I think that it should have been Candace Owens answers questions, and when she didn't, then there is an end result to that. You know what I mean? We can actually come out and say, well, this is what the whole thing was pitched as, Candace answering questions, and she never did. Instead, it was a debate. And, Claire, I think you were saying before the show that, or maybe Joe, it might have been you, that the talking time was wildly swayed in Candace's favor. She gets the bulk of the time to talk. And yeah, I'm just stuck on it being a complete waste of $300K. Like it's a complete waste of $300K. And I would say 7 hours of my time live streaming, because all I was frustrating, waiting for the bombshell to drop, and it never did.
I got a damn TikTok restriction, TikTok ban, live ban for 3 days over it. Because I had to listen to say the R word. It's like, man, I'll tell you what, I would have rather not watched it with how bad it was.
Wow. You got banned because they said the R word?
Because he said the R word.
Oh,
and it was just like, ugh. Well, the thing is, people watching probably mass reported and said, oh my God, I heard that word.
Yeah.
Wow.
I want to add one other thing to it. I don't know. I've been saying for a long time that I think Candace Owens is still a lefty. And wait.
Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
No, still means that there was there's a transition from one place to another, right? Like there was an event that happened, and therefore I'm still here. Like all of a sudden, no, she never left. I've talked about this ad nauseum. She has always been a leftist. She has been cosplaying as a conservative. And I argue that many of the people that fired her realized that, and hence why they fired her. But no, she has always been. She never wasn't a leftist.
I am proud to say I talked shit on Candace Owens when she was on stage with Charlie.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was on the BLM. I was dogging around with BLM. So yeah, go ahead, continue though. I'm sorry.
No. I was just going to say that a lot of it was a lot of the arguments she was making. They were similar to the ones that you see left. It was like virtue signaling type stuff, and the you're just the taking me out of context and calling Erica retarded, and I saw her. Yeah. And as if she's wildly offended over that when it has nothing to do with the substance of the debate. It's just trying to make a character charge against Andrew, for which there are plenty of I'm sure reasons people can question the things that he said or how he's approached things, that it's not with the right demeanor or the right language, whatever. Fine, people can be offended, but it's just generally the lefties that are offended and not us. And for somebody who claims to be a conservative, and I will put that in air quotes, she seemed to do a lot of virtue signaling throughout the debate to try to get the emotional side of the audience on her side, like kind of like this, how dare you make fun of someone. It's like, no, that's who he is, and it's absolutely not substantive to the issues that we're talking about. So
I agree.
Just another thing that frustrated me.
I just really wish they had a refund clause if anybody violated the rules, because if you remember, she called him an asshole during the debate, which, like, there was an ad hominem rule that you don't get to make those attacks. I wish there was a refund rule, so at the end of it, he could just play it, like, just put it on repeat and just be like, this is me getting my $300,000 back.
And then he could sue her for it and get it back.
No,
you can't sue her. You'd be at the back of a very long line.
A very long, very long. Nish, was there anything particular that stood out or disappointed you about the discussion? Besides the discussion.
Yeah, when just the fact that she was not, interrupted during her filibuster and asked to, stay on topic, and she kept trying to. Technically, it was ad hominem, subjects that she was bringing up, so that had nothing to do with the case. So I was just like, why is PVD just letting her blab on about her relationship with her husband and like all this stuff? I didn't understand that.
I do think
would I be able to ask a question real quick, just because one of your chatters said something really interesting, and I think this would be a great question for Claire, because Claire was part of that Israeli run Martian chat group that was going after Candace, right? And and if you notice during the debate, Candace went on the defense for Erica. She's like, you called her a retard. And she acted offended on behalf of Erica Kirk, who she thinks murdered her friend. And it was amazing to me. Like, maybe you should add Candace to that Protect Erica Kirk chat.
Yeah, I think so.
As agent number 33, I decline the.
I'm agent number 0015. I decline.
I'm operative 0013.
Do you decline?
So sinister.
Wait, is this one of those where the lower the number, the better?
I decline for sure.
Yeah.
Well, mine's 33, so I'm the most suspicious. So.
There you go.
I'm over here like Trump on the Epstein Island. I was never invited.
Never invited.
I'm the same.
But okay. No, that was a good question on a good point. And I'm like, wait, so you're more offended that he called Erica Kirk retarded. Have you said anything bad about Erica Kirk by any chance?
Yes, no
Candace?
kidding. That was.
I'm like,
yes.
the clutching of the pearl. It was the clutching of the pearls for me. Like, have you said anything bad about Erica Kirk by any chance?
It's like those pearls got Erica's blood on them, and you're gonna clutch them like that.
Yeah.
That would have been the perfect opportunity to play one of Milk Bar's videos.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Right. Spot on the money.
Part of me wishes that they had played some more stuff in length. I mean, I know they were pressed for time and all of that, but just optically, admittedly, it doesn't look great when you just take that one snippet. I think it either should have been compilations, mashups, whatever, to show that there's a consistent trend, which is what Nathan has done.
Yeah.
And they do that. They picked a clip. It's like, look, you guys, you could spare 30 seconds and splice that together. That it showed that to me that they didn't really do I hate to say it, they didn't do enough prep work for that.
Well, here's the thing. I think they did the prep work, and I think Andrew's vanity created a problem there. I don't think Andrew was willing to bring anyone else who questioned her into this. I think he wanted the focus to be on him, and he was like, "Look, I paid $300,000. I'm going to make this about me." Because let's be real. Milk Bar would have been a better choice of person. There's plenty of people that would have been a better choice of person to sit down with her. Andrew got to sit down with her because he paid the fee.
Well, no, I'm just saying that
Came
like
without a ticket.
yeah, I'm just saying that when they went to show the clips, if they had done either like that's where I felt like they weren't prepared. I might have misspoken on that one, but am I making sense?
No, I mean that was pretty embarrassing by the fact that you have 3 people who run shows, and we're going to play the clip, and we're all just sitting there like,
Oh, it took forever for them to load things too.
Yeah,
Sitting there, and I was like, "I'm going to record this." I'm like, "Why am I recording for 4 minutes when they're doing nothing?" Like, what?
So let me ask you this. Okay. Who would you rather have a discussion? Let's say this format stays the same. So-and-so asked Candace questions. Who would you rather have had? Anybody you could have picked. Who would you rather have had? Take a second to process that. Shout out to the live chat. Thank y'all, everybody who's tapped in. Please, if the moderators could drop the links to the guests on the show so we can go support them. And matter of fact, they should be down in the description of this video. I just thought about that. So please check them out. I think we also had a guest also ready to pop in too, Jen, if that is true. All right, anybody want to jump on and tell us who would you rather had? You know what? No slight to Andrew, but who would you rather have had come and sit down and talk with Candace yesterday?
well, I got to say, I don't know this guy in real life, but I do know him on X, and 0 Hour 1.
Yeah.
Okay, 0 hour. Okay,
Now, granted, he may have 3 eyeballs, and I don't know what the hell he looks like in real life, but I know his presence on X. But even a good investigative reporter like Sarah Fields would have been great because she would have organized her questions. Andrew came prepared for a debate and ended up with the discussion. We needed an investigation and people asking real questions.
I can dig it. Niche.
Simply because I feel like the crux of the issue for most people is the the 30-06. So I think it should have been Viva Frey.
I like it. Okay, I can dig Viva. Okay, Jared, what about you, my friend?
I was actually going to say Viva or Gary. Well,
Gary, yeah.
It never would have happened with Gary because there's so much. I mean, there's even more vitriol, I think, towards Gary than there is that towards.
She would have filed domestic violence charges against Gary.
Right. Facts.
But someone who's encyclopedic in the knowledge, I think that's a great point. That account, Joe, that you mentioned, zero. What was it called? Zero
Hour.
0 hour.
0 Hour 1.
Yeah, I know that I follow them and their stuff pops across my feed, but that is very true. I think I like that idea of someone who has studied the actual evidence and every one of the claims that she's made so that it could have been a line drawn between the two. So yeah, I Viva Frey, I think would be a really good one, would have been a really good one. But Gary, I'll be honest, the dude's encyclopedic knowledge of this stuff is very impressive. So
I can dig it. What's somebody?
I think Viva would have. I mean, he would have been dazzling with the hair as well. It would have been amazing to have him in there.
There's that. I would have liked to have seen Dinesh D'Souza possibly interview her. And again, this person, she has to answer questions, so not just a lot of filibustering and yammering. I wouldn't mind Dinesh, but again, no shade to any of the other ones as well. I think they all would have been great. And I think Andrew did a decent job as well. Not saying that he wasn't a good person at all, but I think it would have been good for sure.
I got people in your chat saying Ben Shapiro, that he would have never gotten away with a booster seat. I love the man, but he would have gotten away with that. He would have had to have a much bigger chair.
So people
That's
are
the only
saying
reason.
Crowder too. What do you guys think of Crowder? Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot of people. I would have loved Crowder.
Yeah, there's a lot of beef
Crowder would
between
have been
them
a
too,
lot
though.
more fun.
Yeah, it would have been.
well, I think the production would have been better. It probably would have gone more smoothly. He's got a pretty good crew, like a production crew, and I think that was kind of it made Andrew look unfortunately a little less professional. But granted, he was doing it in her studio, so that as a guy who kind of does that stuff for a living, productions and other places and video work, it's not that easy to pop into someone else's studio and get hooked into whatever software they're using. But it was an inconvenience that made the overall presentation of the information not look great. And sorry, go ahead.
There's two insights to that. One, when they tried to do during the breaks, they tried to reach out to Gerald, and there's super bad signal. And then on top of that, they mentioned how after the in between the breaks, his mic on his ear would cut out, and they would have no access to it. But they don't think Candace's would cut out, so they didn't know if there was something going on there, if they had control.
Something going on.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. No.
Right.
No. Yeah. So.
Sorry about that. And I think there's definitely, I personally don't think they should have agreed to do it in her house for a lot of reasons. Her being in control of the ad breaks and stuff of that nature. I think they should have agreed, said, no, it needs to be a neutral place. I'll come to Nashville and we'll, peer share a studio, and we're all going to be struggle busing it, right? Nobody's going to have home field advantage. Like, no, we are all going to struggle together. We're going to pick this, we're going to rent the studio, and we'll go from there. So your team, my team, we're all going to be learning together. But I do think that was, in my opinion, the format, the location, there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes in the setup that, to me, lent itself to this being not the best situation at all. So that was just, that's my little takeaway from there for sure.
But I do want to point out that, look, the failures of what Andrew failed to do have nothing to do with location. He failed to call her on things he should have called her on. He let PBD control things when it was supposed to be debate, not a discussion between her and the moderator. Mm-hmm. So here's the thing. I respect Andrew's ability to debate, but we also as online personalities is the best way to put it. We have to hold him to the fire. He paid $300,000 to do an advertisement for Candace Owens' show.
I mean, I can't argue with him.
Yeah.
I can't argue with you at all. Yeah.
So
now, let me ask you.
Too, I didn't see a single Crucible commercial.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, they probably made so much money. Not only the 300,000, but the streaming on YouTube. I mean, was anybody watching from there or check in, because it was insane.
The super chats and the gifts were coming in so fast. She doubled the money Andrew paid her, no doubt.
You couldn't even see what people were saying. This is insane. I guarantee that's why she wanted to do it there. I feel like everything with her is very money motivated.
Oh, no question.
Because if you'll remember, TPUSA agreed to meet with her, and then she made up the whole I'll say allegedly, the threat, and then she wouldn't do it. But had they offered her money, do you think she would have done it? And let her stream it?
Well, you think if I crowdfund $300,000, I get to debate her, because I know I can crowdfund it.
I would love that.
I know I can crowdfund that.
So and I hope people actually take the time to stop and think about that, because I think that's a reality. I think that's a real situation that she does try to capitalize on funding. Because remember when she wanted to debate TPUSA, what did she say? I'll come there. When they said, well, come here. No, we'll stream it. Why? Because she would have been able to do exactly what she did here without any problem.
That was the most ridiculous part about it, because they called her on it, because she said, I want to talk to them anytime, any place, anywhere. And they said, cool. How about this multi-million-dollar studio we got? And she said, no, I can't travel. It's dangerous. And then went to dangerous. Graceland, Spain. She went other places
Rome,
too.
Russia. Yeah. She's been 6 places. She's been 6 places in the last year.
Well,
it's crazy.
Who says I don't feel safe? I'm going to go to Russia.
Right. Well, you know what, though? Our overall beard quality here on this channel has increased. It has increased. I mean, we have some great beards on here. I'm sorry, ladies, but you've been in the presence of some great beards. But now our beard game has gone up exponentially. Shout out to Reese, the beard lawyers in the building. Shout out to you, friend. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing? You guys were having a legal debate, and I'm like, you guys can't talk legal game without me, okay? I have to crash the party, and so
We need adult
knocked on the
supervision
door.
up in here. We
What-
need adult
what's that?
supervision, man. Come on.
Yeah, adult supervision's what I do best.
My only lawyer experience is hiring one. So
Sometimes that's the worst experience that you could possibly have. So I feel bad for you.
Well, as my support of the criminal justice system and the such is to not need to hire a lawyer. So I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad I'm not having to hire you. Shout out to that.
Well, let me just say this: hiring a lawyer is sometimes the best thing you can ever do. I mean, like the kind of work that I do, people
That's a good
hire
point.
me frequently before the problems arise, and that's a more prudent use of your resources than hiring a lawyer to get you out of jail, for example.
I got you. That's a good
Right?
point.
Yeah.
I got you. So just in case anybody doesn't know,
hire
I
the
don't.
lawyer when you hear there are charges before they get you.
And just in case, Reese, if they don't know you, could you please tell us who you are, what you're about, all that kind of good stuff, so everybody knows who you are.
Yeah, I go by the moniker Beard Lawyer on social media. My name's Rais Mohammed. So I'm an internet lawyer and corporate lawyer. So my biggest area of practice is internet defamation. So I represent content creators, the celebrities of the internet, internet entrepreneurs, internet tech founders. And I basically keep them out of trouble online. And when they get in trouble online, I'm here to help them out. And I have a more kind of less sexy corporate practice, which is basically like if you've ever watched Suits, then you know what I do on the other side. But the internet side, representing creators and being out there, particularly with defamation and commenting on those kinds of things, is what I do.
I got you. So did you, and we did not watch a debate yesterday, by the way, Beard. It was a discussion. So did you watch the discussion between Andrew Wilson and Candace Owens? Do you have any opinions about it?
I watched highlights.
Okay.
Have you ever seen a baseball game between two teams you just hate, but you want to know who wins the match? You ever have that situation? It was kind of like that. And so I watched the highlights, and I kind of kept a little score as a lawyer. And, maybe a baseball game is not the right analogy.
No,
because
it's
you're
not.
dealing
It's
with
not a good one.
professionals, at least. I mean,
A
it was more
boxing
of
match.
a food fight. It was more of a food fight.
Okay.
And, look, I get paid to debate for a living. I get paid money that's the way I look at it. I'm a lawyer. That's what I do.
Right.
I argue with people professionally. So, yeah, I mean, do you want me to give you some just my reaction? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Come on.
I was hoping like a post boxing match scorecard.
Right.
okay. Well,
Okay.
let me start by just painting the landscape a little bit. I think what fascinated me watching this as a lawyer is that Candace and Andrew kept kind of arguing past one another. For example, Andrew kept saying things like, "Show me evidence Tyler was framed." And Candace would say, "The government hasn't convinced me that Tyler did it," right? And those aren't the same proposition. That's not a debate. In a criminal courtroom, if that's the standard and this is the standard, Candace and Andrew don't have the burden. You have to look at it as the government has the burden to prove that the person they're accusing of who did this crime did it, right? Beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, another thing that's kind of annoying as a lawyer to watch, this was not a trial. JWhit, you and I have talked about this before. It was a preliminary hearing, and there are some rules of evidence, which I'll talk about in a minute, that are a little more relaxed in this setting. But my point is, the moment Candace affirmatively says, Tyler is a patsy, then just intellectually, she's made a separate factual complaint and a separate factual claim that she now has to support. It's different to say, hey, I don't think the government can meet their burden of proof. That is a legal position. That's an acceptable legal position. But it's entirely different to introduce a new character to the story and say, I think X did it. And because X did it, I'm right and you're wrong. That to me is not only illogical, it's just not how the criminal justice system works. And look, likewise, I have criticisms of Andrew. Andrew can say that he personally finds the evidence overwhelming. I'm using air quotes. But legally, that's meaningless. The standard is not whether the evidence is overwhelming. No jury has found beyond a reasonable doubt right now because the case is not even in front of a jury, right? We're still at what's called a probable cause stage. It's the same standard for a cop to search your house without a warrant, to get a warrant in the first place. It's probable cause. So that's why this is a little bit like watching two teams that I hate playing a baseball match. But there's still ridiculous things being said. And again, I'm not a big fan of the patsy argument because it does not address the government's burden of proof to show that Tyler Robinson, if this gets in front of a jury, committed the crime beyond a reasonable doubt. And that's what everybody wants to know, right? And further for that, I believe September 1st, somebody can fact check me on this because I haven't looked at it in a while. I think September 1st is when Judge Tony Graff in Utah is going to decide, at least that's when final arguments are on whether this will actually be moved to trial, meaning the probable standard has been met, and that this case will actually move towards a criminal trial. Until then, it's all just argument. It's all banter, right? So, I thought the debate was disorganized. I thought it was not a debate. I think somebody said that correctly. I think that was not the correct framing. I think it was a chance just to get eyeballs. You know, I think Patrick Beck-David hosted this just to get people to see that, you know, he was in the mix. I don't think he added a lot of value. Again, I'm just talking as a lawyer. I have nothing against anybody personally. It was hard to watch.
So, and being the fact that you are a professional debater, you get paid to argue, if you will, do you agree that if it had been formatted as a true debate with time limits and requirements of that nature, it would have been better? Or what do you think pertaining to that?
Oh, yeah. I think what they should have done, this is what I would do, is you pick 10 things Candace has said, for example.
Okay.
And say, you said this. Where's your proof? Argue your way, and I'll tell you my version of the story, and vice versa, right? That's how debates work, is you start with the premise, and then the person who's taking the position should support their position, and then you get to argue it with facts. That's basically how it works. Otherwise, this is an eye-poking contest, and it's horrible to watch. It's just terrible.
It was painful.
I just wanted to say, so like in my background, I was an interrogator when I started in the Army. The setup of the room did not make for a debate, right? So they more embrace the Sean Ryan podcast setup, which is never a debate. It's a discussion. It's a friendly environment. It's meant to kind of lull you into feeling secure and relaxed about the way you're talking. And again, I'd love to hear Bearded Lawyer's thought on this. Is, to me, if you have a debate, and I know this sounds trivial as hell, you need a table. You need the ability to have something to argue across, and not so much sit comfortable in chairs looking at each other.
Well, this is my point about they were talking past each other all the time. You know, like if Patrick or somebody said, here's what we're going to do. Why will the state not be able to meet their burden of proof to show that by probable cause they are prosecuting the right person? That's a very concrete question, because now it frames the DNA from the trigger, the DNA outside of the trigger, the ballistics. It frames suspects. It frames the location of where Tyler Robinson was, not nebulous ideologies and opinions and political speech and all the stuff that doesn't win or lose a case. Correct. So if I present a theory that I believe aliens from outer space came down and, you know, found a rifle and decided the rifle wasn't the best weapon and somehow put an exploding device into a microphone. Let's just say that's my theory. And somebody said, well, Rais, what's your evidence to support that? And I said, well, the government's retarded. I haven't moved the needle.
That's a great point.
Nobody, that's like saying, that's like saying I can't think straight today because my shoe's not tied. I mean, they're not correlated. And so I have a problem watching people who are not academic, who are, and listen, I think both Andrew and Candace have abilities to attract an audience. And I've said this before. I personally believe the cost of a microphone and camera should be at least $1 million, because the burden to get into this game is way too low. And as a result, you have a lot of noise. At the same time, I believe in freedom of speech. Obviously, I'm a First Amendment lawyer. I just think there's a lot of noise, man. I just think there's a lot of noise. And I'm happy to get into specifics about what was said. I know you guys were starting to talk about that a little bit, about, some points that were made. But I would have liked to see this charted. I would have created a chart. Let's talk about bullet fragments. Let's talk about DNA. Let's talk about alternative theories. Put your facts. What are your facts? It's just hard to watch when it looks like people with ADD who are not medicated just spewing. That's what I saw. I mean, I'm sorry. The highlights that I saw. And I didn't watch all 3 hours because maybe that's my attention span issue. I don't know.
Well, I will just go ahead and tell you right now, it wasn't much better for us who watched the entire thing. So
I was
that's
screaming
screaming
at the laptop. Sometimes I feel like Candace intentionally misunderstands how a trial or pretrial works. That, or she knows and she's just trying to make everybody else confused. Do you ever feel like she's using that? People don't understand that you're not going to get all the information. We're not going to get all the evidence until the actual trial.
Yeah,
because the way she was talking to Andrew was like she was saying we should know this. I'm like, what?
So
I don't think she. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I wasn't sure if the question was directed at, but I have a very
It's to you. It's to you, Beard. I was just gonna give you a second to process it.
I have a visceral reaction to this because, again, as a lawyer watching these things, anybody who understands, and I'm not even a criminal lawyer, okay? I don't purport to be. I'm a civil practitioner, but I know enough about the criminal process. I've read enough to know this. At this stage, nobody knows what the other side has in full. They just, they don't. The judge doesn't know because it hasn't been presented yet. So the strategic thing about, smart prosecutors, and for that matter, smart defense lawyers, will only show the cards they need to show to advance their position, because they don't want the other side to build a defense when and if and when this gets to trial, premised on what they had 6 months or 7 months or 9 months to prepare for in advance of a criminal trial even starting. So for that reason, it is illogical to even conclude. Again, not even talking about who's right or wrong, but it's nonsensical to suggest that the cards are laid out and we know who's going to play what. It's just false. It's incorrect. It's not how the system works.
Wait, could I just ask a quick question, just because we do have a lawyer present? I love that so much. So a point that Candace made during this debate was that, oh God, now I lost it. It was about the idea that people don't present things here like they don't present their case. And very obviously true, like you said, they're not going to give all their cards away. But then she spoke about discovery when she said that, the defense didn't have these things. And he brought up the fact check that showed, and he didn't read it, which made me want to reach through the screen and choke the ever-loving shit out of him. But they read that, they read the badly worded part of the first part that they said they gave them everything that was, consequential and things like that. But they didn't read the second part that specifically stated everything that the prosecution has, the defense has. They didn't read that little part. When I did my live reaction to it, I was yelling at the screen. I probably topped out my microphone. But literally it said that the defense had 100% of whatever the prosecution had, and they never read that part. So I would curious, is from a lawyer's point of view, is that the way it works?
No, it's not. They know, they may know what is being used for purposes of the preliminary hearing, but that's not the full set of tools in the toolbox. It's just not. To make a civil analogy.
No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was everything that was brought up at the preliminary hearing, all the text messages and things like that, the Discord messages, Candace made the claim that the defense didn't get that. And in the document, it said they had it no later than April 1st. They had 100% of all of those materials.
Yeah, and frankly, I don't want to speak out of school here, but what I'll tell you is generally, if the court says you need to, exchange documents and the parties exchange documents by this date, it's not supposed to be a surprise at a hearing that, oh, you have this all of a sudden. The only real surprises that happen is somebody may get asked a question on cross-examination. For example, a forensics expert, Olivia, I forgot her name, the gal who was the testifying ballistics expert. For example, people may ask questions on cross-examination that somebody didn't anticipate. So facts may come out. But yeah, it's not, there's no gotcha. There's not supposed to be a gotcha card, at this stage or at any stage, really.
No, I like
I have one other question that I would like to ask. So this is something that's been brought up ever since the preliminary hearing, and it continues up until now, that if there is information that disrupts the claim or what let me rephrase. Candace made the argument that the text messages could have been doctored, that the Discord messages could have been doctored. If the defense had evidence to prove that in the contrary, that is something that they would have presented as well, to say, well, here we have potential evidence that these messages were doctored, they weren't sent by the defendant, whatever. They would have brought that forward then as well, right?
Well, it's a great question, because it is quite possible that they're only releasing the amount of evidence just enough to poke a hole in the argument. Now, the strategic decision on whether to lay out all the cards or not is something that you and I, in fact, anyone watching other than the legal teams, will never really know, right? And so I don't know. I don't know if somebody's presentation of the facts or their argument was, look, these Discord messages were altered. It is logical to conclude that the counterparty who is suggesting they're not reliable should show that they were doctored and how they were doctored, right? It is logical, particularly here where that evidence is being given weight on whether there's probable cause. So the logical conclusion is, yes, they should. They should. Now, whether they did or did not, I don't really know. I don't know that any of us really know. Unless they got up there and said, Your Honor, we don't have that evidence, or unless they decided for some reason not to present it. I think it would be imprudent if I was an attorney, right, to not poke holes in that at this stage. But remember, maybe the state feels that they have enough evidence. They have other alternative evidence that they don't want to give everything out at this stage of the probable cause level, that they're like, you know what? We don't even want to introduce this yet. Why should we educate them on the weaknesses of our case as prosecutors? Why should we do that? We have the burden of proof. The prosecutors have the burden of proof. The defense does not have to present an alternative theory. All they have to say, if this goes to trial, is prosecutors did not meet their burden of proof on any of these claims. Boom, 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 boom. They don't have to produce an alternative theory. They don't have to produce an alternative bullet. They don't have to say it was aliens. They don't have to say it was. All they have to say is they didn't meet the burden of proof.
Let me ask you one other question. Sorry that something just came up. That from a tactical standpoint, I guess you would say, in a trial, would there be any reason for the defense, because we're in the probable cause phase of this, to try to get it to move forward to trial? Would there be any time where you would say this is better fought in trial and we let it proceed? Or in my mind, it would be, we should be making the best possible defense now or injecting whatever we can to prevent it from moving forward to trial. But is that, kind of, you're talking about the prosecution may have additional information that's going to be released. Would there be a reason for the defense to say, let's let it get to trial because we're going to get even more information, and we believe that the information exists to maybe get our client off or to get charges reduced or whatever? Is that making sense?
Can I piggyback that real quick? Because Jared, my question goes exactly with what you just said. Where a good example is Candace makes the case that she has a receipt that shows Tyler was at a restaurant a pretty good distance away, and she says she knows she has proof that he was at this restaurant when the shooting happened. And at a preliminary hearing, would the defense not bring that up to be like, hey, our client was not even in the zip code? And along with Jared was saying, like, if the defense has something where they're like, hey, homeboy wasn't there, Like, wouldn't that be something they'd bring up, or is that something maybe, as Jared would say, it's something they'd save to trial?
No, something basic like that should absolutely get brought up, for sure. So if you have, to say it more succinctly, if you have a receipt that the potential criminal defendant here was not available to commit the act, that strikes me as evidence number one. Like, you wouldn't talk about ballistics and DNA if you had exculpatory evidence that this person couldn't have even done it because they were inebriated, they were on a ship in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, they were in Dubai, they were, right? So
Right.
that is not a fact that I would want to just sit out and blow in the wind for a while. I would definitely put that forward. So unless Candace has access to evidence that defense lawyers don't have access to, which would be crazy, doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make sense to me.
I will always use the inebriated defense.
Yeah.
Always.
I have a question for you. I mean, I guess I'm looking forward to maybe the bearded lawyer coming back after he watches it, because I want to know if there's anything that Candace said that would get her in trouble if there was a defamation case in the very near future. Because I feel like that was one of the strategies, is to let her talk. And I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say after you hear what she said or didn't say, and see what would get her potentially in, a gotcha moment for defamation.
She and just to build off of that, Race, she actually said it. She said, "I don't want to say something that'll get me in illegal trouble." She literally said it in the stream. So clearly she was getting real close to that line if she didn't cross over it. But go ahead.
No, look, two things, I guess, right? One is, can you be set up in a podcast to say something that defames somebody and face civil liability? Absolutely. Happens every single day. I get those calls every single day. 100% possible. Now, did she actually do it? I don't know, because if somebody wants to send me a clip that I can look at, because I'm probably realistically not going to listen to this, maybe while I'm at the gym, and I'm not at the gym for 3 hours. So if somebody wants to send this to me in like soundbite form, I'm happy to consider it. Here's what I would say. There is a potential for liability. For example, we know about Candace Owens and Brian Harpole, right? We know about this defamation lawsuit. If you, in your attempt to create an alternative theory, if you affirmatively accuse, I want to be very, very specific. If you make an affirmative accusation that person A is the responsible person because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think you've crossed into the territory of making a defamatory statement. It's a little slippery because the standard is not negligence. And for defamation, the standard is typically negligence. For her, on this issue, the standard is probably going to be knowledge of falsity or reckless disregard for the truth, which is an actual malice standard. It's up here, whereas negligence is here, because I have to prove that she knowingly uttered false and defamatory statements. This is the same standard that this is the same standard that was applied when CNN lost their defamation lawsuit, when a former military person sued CNN for saying he was involved with trafficking people in and out of Afghanistan, when in fact he was not. He was actually trying to help people get out. So he was able to prove that CNN questioned the veracity of their own facts. And if you question the veracity of your own facts, but you say it anyway as a fact, that's where liability happens. So if anybody watching can point me to an instance where that happened, I'm happy to opine on it. To be truthful, I'm not going to watch the whole clown show to find out where the clowns got punched. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not.
Yeah, but so like this is along the same standard with which the Macrons are suing her, where they're saying she had the information that proved what she was saying was wrong, but still chose to say it, right?
Yeah, correct. That's correct. It's 100% correct. It's the same standard in the Macron lawsuit. And that is the standard that I believe will get applied in that case. And that's still up for discussion and disputed in that case. But my point is, I don't know what positions she's taking where she has evidence to the contrary on this podcast. If you guys have examples, I'm happy to talk through them. I know a few things that she was just wrong on, from a legal standard, but I don't know if she said anything defamatory about a particular person on that quote unquote debate.
Well,
But if
I
there's
wish I
something you
had the
guys want to
clip.
play,
I wish I had the clip, but it's when, she backtracks and he's like, is she complicit? Is Erica complicit? And then she said, what he said, what is she complicit in? Because she wouldn't answer the question. And she said, complicit in making people
narrative.
believe the narrative. But then, so that needs to be compared to everything she said on her show, right? Or the reasoning for future defamation. So do you think that the fact that she's on this debate and she says, now it's all her opinion, now that she sent out a tweet, I'm being put on trial for my opinion, she's backtracking, what would that play into as far as defamation if they're like trying to sue her for everything she said for 11 months and then they show this, that what I just said?
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
it becomes her opinion, and she's this whole time said it was a fact on her show, and then on the debate, I'll say, she said that it's just her opinion. So she's backed off of those claims in a way, and change flipped, which I wondered the same thing, because if they go after her for defamation, doesn't that prove that she knew this whole time?
let me say this. There's a difference between saying the government's theory sucks and Erica Kirk is complicit in the murder of Charlie Kirk because of ABC. Two totally different things. The latter will fetch you defamation liability, unquestionably. The question is always the same. The question is, the standard in defamation law is, are you publishing a false statement of fact? That's the question. And if not whether you're publishing an opinion. Sometimes it's dicey. Sometimes it's not always clear. If I said, I don't trust the government's theory, the government has lied to you, they lied to you about COVID, they're lying to you about this now, things don't add up, everything I just said is an opinion. It's protected free speech. You could say it. You could even say you believe the US government's complicit in it. That's protected opinion. It's an opinion. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But if you say that this specific person is responsible for the murder, and then you provide a factual basis for it that is just absolutely wrong, that's where defamation liability happens. That's when people call me. Candace, don't call me. I'm just saying, that's when people call me.
I got to say, the bearded lawyer kind of teased me a little bit. He said, I know things she said that were wrong, and then he didn't say them. I'm sitting here waiting in anticipation, like, tell me, brother, what did she say that was wrong?
Yeah, well, I'll give you an example. So, for example, something on the screen. What's this?
Hold on. Okay. So shout out to Jen, the producer. All right, Jen, this is the initial, what is this exactly?
This is the text exchange between that Aubrey and another employee at Turning Point, where Andrew Colvett leaked it, showing that Aubrey's conversation with Candace Owens.
Oh, got
She
it.
was bragging about it, and she was talking about how Candace said at the bottom, the first question when I'm in Tennessee with
Yep.
Erica.
Can you zoom in on that by any chance? Because I don't have the power to.
I
I
can't
can't
read
see
it
it.
either.
Yeah, I remember this
So
conversation
just
though.
so you know, the important thing is, I'm asking, Candace said, I'm asking everything. First
Everything, yeah.
question, why did you murder your husband?
That's
Exactly.
it. There
And
it
her
is.
response was, oh my gosh, I cannot.
There it is.
And I will say the best part of this text exchange
She has some good eyes,
was
by
this
the way.
got released. And then Aubrey and Candace, both people who were in possession of these text messages, because they were the ones that were talking, both said, well, release the whole thing, Andrew. And it was like, Andrew doesn't have the whole thing. However, both of you idiots do. on your
Yes.
phone. One of you, I remember I was in Texas and this came out, and I watched Aubrey go, oh, why won't you release the whole thing? And I texted Andrew. I was like, yo, why don't you release it? It's your text message. It was so insane to me that they wouldn't do that.
You know what? I got a bad feeling we're going to probably end up becoming the Milk Bar TV support staff, because I just thought about it. remember that time she had that quote unquote comedian on in her studio, and he said, she said, tell me what you think about Erica Kerr. He said, oh, I don't want to say anything. And he said, she did it. And they like had this big cackle. They enjoyed it. And such of that nature. That's going to come back. That's going to come back and haunt her, because that was literally in the same room that she said that she didn't know what she had said about him. Like, that's crazy work. What was the guy's name? You know, the comedian.
Russell Brand.
Yusef something, or he's
Muslim.
he's an older guy, but
Oh, the other.
yeah.
Awesome, Yusuf.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he said it. He said, she did it. And remember that? And she sat there and cackled, and she didn't correct him. Now, granted, yes, that was they would hide it under the guise of comedy, but she said it multiple times. Shout out for sure. Thank you, Jen, for that. All right, here's the word count.
That's insane.
Wow. When you see this, Beard, what do you think?
I mean, listen, I have always been told that less is more. I don't really know what to make of this chart, other than to say that Candace talks a lot. You know, look, was she speaking a lot because she was trying to make logical arguments and presenting evidence, and Andrew was simply asking questions and Patrick were just asking questions and she was providing answers? If that's the case, then that looks good, because that means you're giving me a lot. But the inverse is also true. If we ask questions and you're just yapping and you're not giving answers, that looks really bad.
She said a lot and said nothing at all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like it was just.
No, that's what I was going to say, is that she literally, I think she recognized that she was in the lead going into this debate, and the entire thing was run the clock. She was trying to run the clock. She gave 50-word answers to 4-word questions, you know, and it was just one of those where she was running the clock, and she recognized that if she kept talking, she could get out of this and go have some dinner and still be perfectly fine.
Yeah, at one point, he said, can you just give me a yes or no answer? She's like, we're not doing that. I was like, what?
You usually, and this is interesting, right? Because again, as a lawyer, I'm trained to be a professional question asker. And we always know that the quality of your answers are dependent on the quality of the question. And so if you're asking somebody a question and you say, look, I need a yes or no answer, there are instances where you may not be able to give an unqualified yes or no.
That's
right? There are instances in that when that happens.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you should be able to clarify and quantify in your answer why you can't give a yes or no. You should be, rather than be deflective and say, we're not going to do that. That to me is walling off an obvious weak point. But let me get to Joe's point, because I think I think I did tease a little bit and play footsies with you guys. So I'll let me just get into the part that bothered me a lot. And again, I'm a lawyer. I'm watching people who are not lawyers engage in a food fight. It's not really a debate. I don't like the structure. I don't think it was a great outcome. I thought it was a waste of a lot of time. I don't think a lot was accomplished. So I'm very critical. One of the things that people were talking about was, hearsay and the weight of hearsay evidence, right? Do you guys remember this?
Yep.
And I think the argument dispute was, well, that was hearsay and that was hearsay. What I didn't hear anybody say, which I wanted to poke my eyes out on, is what does Utah's rules of evidence actually allow at a preliminary hearing? And the answer to that is, hearsay evidence is admissible in this type of hearing.
Correct.
So this is why I say people are talking past each other. It's like, okay, that's hearsay. And your point is, the judge is the gatekeeper. There's no jury in the room. Hello? There's no jury. The judge gets to determine the weight. So admissibility at this probable cause hearing is not the same as admissibility at trial. They're two different things. So the fact that there's a lineup and says, oh, this is hearsay, well, yeah, but there's a lot of non-hearsay. There were ballistics people that testified or were subject to cross-examination. Okay, so in the truest sense, is a text message, if you're relying on the truth of the words in a text message chain and you put it up on the screen and you say, look, the people who wrote this are not here to testify, but this is what's being said. That is classic hearsay. It is true. But there's exceptions to hearsay, and there's also weight of hearsay evidence, and there's prejudice of not including it. So again, I'm a technician when it comes to this stuff, so I'm looking at it from that standpoint. But it was like nails on a chalkboard hearing just, well, that's hearsay, that's hearsay. I'm like, this is not how it works. This is not
Well,
how it
that's
works.
the thing, because she did read it and she did say multiple times, well, Utah, she was insinuating that the law of Utah is a hurting Tyler Robinson because Utah is allowing it. So she read the law, she understood it. She said, well, Utah law allows it, for it to be admissible, or the judge allowed it, but that's not unfair. Essentially, that's what she made it seem.
And
like.
it is absolutely fair because the rules absolutely allow it. I guess that's my point. It's the rules specifically say that the judge has the ability. It's Rule 1102, if I'm not mistaken, in Utah, and it actually gives you a relaxed standard for this kind of hearing. So I disagree. I just disagree. She's wrong on the law, right? So this is one of those things where I just, yes.
So one of the other things that she casted doubt on, not only the law being fair for Tyler, but she also casted doubt on the fact that the documents that stated that the parents are the ones who turned him in and noticed, recognized him on the cameras and all that, the statement of for the warrant. She casted doubt that she said anybody could have written that, or this person could have wrote that. It wasn't the parents. And I'm like, they would not have submitted it if it was false, but Andrew didn't push back on that. So had it been false, isn't that a huge issue? Isn't that a big red flag and easy to debunk?
And just to be clear, you're talking about the charging document.
Yes, the charging document.
Yes.
She casted doubt on that statement. She said it was Mike something that was the one that wrote
Yeah, I forgot
it.
his name.
And I'm like, they wouldn't have accepted
debate,
it.
she claimed that the charging document was written by a third person who wasn't there.
Right. So if I remember correctly, and tell me, I want to make sure I got Candace's argument. She's essentially saying, how do we know Tyler wrote these communications? Am I right? How do we know he wrote these communications? Someone else could have written them.
No. She's not talking about the communication. What she was directly questioning the charging document, saying that the charging document was written by somebody who was a third party and heard it from everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, once again, a charging document, I think a judge understands what a charging document is. And this is the problem, right? The evidence is not being produced in a vacuum. The judge is listening and knows what to give it weight and what not to give weight in a charging document. If somebody is, for example, let me give you a completely different example to make this really, really simple. Let's say there's an automobile accident. And an automobile accident happens, officer makes a report. Person who was driving car A hit the person driving car B. And person A gives a statement, person B gives a statement. It's in the police report, okay? Now we're at trial. There's person A available, there's person B, there's no police officer. The second somebody tries to introduce the police officer's report, there's an objection on hearsay because it is an out-of-court statement. Police is not there to be cross-examined. That's a valid evidentiary objection, okay? However, if person A testifies and says, well, this is what happened at the crime scene and or at the accident scene and that's what happened, somebody could introduce the report to say, but that's not what you told the officer, because that's being used for a different purpose. What I'm trying to illustrate is evidence, charging document, text message chain, whatever, something that could be hearsay, something that could be written by a third party that's out of court. It could be used for something. This is my point about how trials generally work. It could be used for something. It's what the something that it's being used for is what matters. And judges know this. Judges are experts in this. This whole hearing is evidentiary in nature. So to suggest that there was some mistake about using that or not, I mean, I think that's a hokey argument. Is that what you're getting at? That she kind of made it sound like Tell me what you're saying. You know, the conclusion of the.
Andrew had, said, well, the parents, with the friend, the sheriff turned him in. They recognized them on the surveillance footage that was, put out for finding the culprit. And they turned it, and then Candace said, well, that statement on the charging documents detailing what was said, detailing that the parents with the sheriff went to the precinct to turn Tyler in, that statement in its entirety was written by somebody else. So then it could have been, I don't know what she's insinuating. She's never direct with her accusations. So she didn't say, they made it up, but she also just casted doubt on it. Like, is it really even reliable?
So it's a valid question. So let me say this. If a person says, if Candace's point is, hey, we haven't heard that directly from the parents' mouths.
Yeah.
That is a valid evidentiary question. But this is where I think people go too far. If she says, therefore the parents never identified him, that's a leap that goes way overboard. And I do find that she did that a lot. Like, I'll give you another very palpable example for me. Ballistics is a big part of this case, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not a big ballistics guy. Frankly, I'm not a ballistics expert at all. I've shot guns a few times. I own 6 of them. I don't even think I understand how bullets work properly, okay? That's about the expertise I have. But when I listen to these experts, I'm fascinated by the examination and their cross-examination. And one of the things that I think Candace said was, let's talk about, the bullet doesn't match the rifle. Okay, let's talk about this logic for a second. I think Candace emphasized, somebody fact check me on this, that the trigger guard, the ballistics was inconclusive. Ballistics was inconclusive, and therefore Tyler Robinson should be washed from this. I wanted to just jump out of a window, because inconclusive is not the same as excluded.
Right.
Okay, they are two totally different things. If the examiner says we can't identify it, we can't confirm that this bullet came from this rifle, it's inconclusive both ways. It doesn't mean it is or it isn't. That's the definition of inconclusive. Okay? The examiner could have said, well, I don't know for sure that this bullet definitely did, but here are all the reasons why we can say it absolutely did not. Boom, 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 boom. That's not what happened. So again, I think Candace argues in a way that she is giving way too much weight and too many inferences that are just not true. So basically tweaking the facts or putting spin or gloss on what actually happened at the hearing.
Hey, Beard, let me jump on that real quick and ask you a question. The charging documents, let's just say for easy understanding, the charging documents have 10 people who have been addressed in here. Lance,
you said
the
parents, the charging documents. Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
The charging document. And so that was on quote unquote trial yesterday with Andrew and Candace. She was saying that this is hearsay, blah, 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 blah. But the charging documents don't mean that the person won't come to trial to actually testify. Am I correct?
That's correct. This is an example.
Right. So if, in the example, let's say that on the charging documents, they say Beard said XYZ ABC. Now, and Candace would say, well, that's hearsay because we don't know what Beard said. He can't be cross-examined, blah, blah, blah. Well, at trial, Beard walks into court to give his testimony, and it substantiates what's said in the charging documents. That doesn't mean that it was hearsay. It just means that we're giving you a run of play, kind of giving you the script, and the actual play, the actual movie will be played out with real actual humans in court. Is that fair?
That's exactly right. That's exactly
okay.
Right. It's summarizing a factual basis. It's not the evidence that is being presented.
That's what I'm saying. Because she treats it, and I think, I'm sorry, sad, I think she actually believes this is the evidence.
No.
The charging document is the evidence.
It's completely wrong. If somebody says, Robinson's parents recognized him and confronted him, and the only evidence we have is this charging document, that's not what happened. That's not what's happening.
Correct.
That's a misreading. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And wait,
Go ahead, Joe.
I just had a quick question because something regarding, and again, not a ballistics expert whatsoever under any circumstances. I've shot a lot of guns, madly disappointed that you have 6 guns. You said you've only shot them a few times. We got to hang out more often. I'm going to tell you right now, we'll shoot them guns. But my point is a big thing she talked about, and this was a big thing early on, is that she talked about the degradation of the prints. Right? Is that there were 4 to 5 sets of prints, and her argument was, and the way she definitely tried to wordsmith this a little bit. She said, "Oh well, Tyler Robinson's prints were the most degraded of the 4 prints on the gun." And in my mind, and maybe again, this is coming from somebody who's just watched way too much Law and Order. My thought process was, well, maybe he was the first person who thought I need to wipe my prints from this gun. But that was her argument, was by the fact that his prints were the most degraded. Therefore, he couldn't have been the most recent person to fire this weapon.
Yeah. So let's talk about degraded, because it's the exact same logical fallacy that that happened with the DNA issue or the bullet didn't match the rifle. So saying that somebody's fingerprint is degraded, okay, doesn't mean that it's not their fingerprint, or doesn't mean that they didn't touch the weapon. You know, I think, again, she's inferring too much from a true fact. It is true that the evidence was degraded, okay, and that's okay. But there was also testimony, and the language is important. The expert testified something like the trigger and the guard profile had like a 1 trillion times more likelihood if Robinson was a major contributor plus 3 unknown people than if 4 unrelated people contributed to that. I mean, think about that. That is significant. That's substantial, and that alone may cross into the barrier of probable cause being shown in the judge's mind. Okay, you don't need a clean. Let me say it this way. On the whole, with all of the evidence, the fingerprint alone is not going to tell the story. It's a part of a bigger picture. So the fact that it was degraded, again, I think she's running with this too far. It was degraded, but that doesn't mean anything beyond that.
I think it's important too to note that, and I don't know if any of you all noticed this or not, she was using, when she and Andrew were going back and forth, there was a misuse or I guess a interchangeability in her, what she was saying between DNA and fingerprints. She kept flip-flopping, like consistently saying the DNA, the fingerprint, the 2 very different things. First off, DNA versus the fingerprints. But to kind of like, just so I, you know, for folks that might be watching, to kind of tie a bow around this, back to the hearsay stuff, because I was going to ask you about this earlier. Hearsay is admissible and is allowable, but it has to be, and it is in this case, in conjunction with all this other stuff we're talking about. So am I correct in that?
Correct. Meaning the judge is weighing the evidence in its totality to see if it reaches the burden of proof that needs to be established, which is right now, I would say the burden has been met, but it's a probable cause standard, correct? And so something that may be hearsay at trial, when the actual trial occurs, may be given some weight and admissible for purposes of the probable cause hearing.
Okay, so just to kind of like tie it together, it's that when she takes a thing and says this is hearsay, therefore we as the non-lawyer types and people out here looking at this case, we should just pull that out because it's hearsay, even though it's allowable under 1102 in was it Rule 1102 in Utah?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's black and white wrong. She's wrong on that. This is black and white.
Right. But I'm just saying, this is for people out there when they're trying to make an argument with another Candace person, that it's, look, she pulled this one piece of thing that in and of itself is wrong, but this is also one little piece of the puzzle that includes all this other stuff as well. So you can't just say that all right, it's hearsay. Let's grant that even though she's 100% wrong, that is taken out. There's still all this other stuff to go along with it, and this is a component of the overall picture that is moving it forward to trial, right?
Correct. And whether probable cause is met or not, I can promise you that the probable cause standard will not be met with only hearsay evidence. That's not how this works either. So that's just something that's an argument, that's a throw-out argument. And this is why I don't think this was a debate, because if you're going to debate evidence, you should come prepared with either a lawyer's opinion or be a lawyer yourself. Otherwise, it's people talking around in circles about their feelings is kind of how it feels to me.
Let me jump on here. I'm glad you brought that up. Let's just pretend last week, Beard, you got a phone call, and it was Candace and Andrew was on the phone, and they said, we want you to help us structure this as a real bona fide debate. What would it have looked like if Beard had set this up from, and you can get out of the studio, you can set a table up, whatever, jousting match, whatever. What would you have set it up to look like if you had wanted it to be a true debate between person and not worrying about the actual evidence, but what would it look like? Go.
Well, the first thing you would have done is take a piece of that 300K.
Well, there's that. He would.
So where does this 300K
it'd been called a
come from?
retainer.
What is the 300K? I don't know about this. What is this?
Andrew paid Candace $300,000 for that debate, that conversation. That was the most expensive 3-hour coffee date on the history of ever.
That's probably the only reason she did it. Just saying.
Hands down, no question about it.
Wow.
So yeah, he paid her $300K to do it.
I would have bought a 911 Turbo with that money, but that's just me. I wouldn't have paid her for a debate. But hey, to each their own.
I do love it when bearded lawyer talks dirty.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay, so what I would do, here's the exact format. I would put a table together of, by the way, let me take a step back. Who asked for the debate? So obviously Andrew asked Candace to do the debate. So what I would have done if I was Andrew, and I'm kind of shocked he didn't do this. I think this is a stupid move on his part. I would have put each statement that I wanted to probe on a physical sheet or document on a screen share so viewers can track. And I would have put it up. Bullet point 1, Robinson's DNA was on the trigger. Candace, you don't agree or you disagree? Well, it's degraded. Well, what's your factual basis for why the state can't meet probable cause? What's your alternative theory? Did somebody let's do it like this. Boom, boom, boom. And actually, that's how things actually happen at the hearing. That's how they're supposed to happen. It's in a very, very tight checklist ABC manner. I would have put all of her statements, whether it was her tweets, Andrew's tweets, I would have compared them so that we can actually do an apples to apples comparison, right? And we can talk in an educated manner about what the theories are and what the evidence is. It was just really hard to follow. It just, it became like, you ever go to a family reunion and you see people you haven't seen in a while and you're just like disgruntled about what they gave you for Christmas or something or a birthday? It really was like that. I'm just like, I have no interest in watching that. It's just terrible. It's terrible.
So how would you have set it up? Would you have had it, a desktop, tables across from one another? How would you have set it up in the physical sense?
Yeah, I would say, look, I would say, bring two people with you who are in your camp, sit at a table, face each other, opposite sides of the room, not sitting across from each other. And somebody who's the actual mediator will ask the questions, or the host will ask the questions and then hear an answer. That way it's not arguing over each other and you're not talking past each other. And the true neutral would determine if the question was answered, reflect on what was said. And the reason I'm saying bring two people at the table is this whole thing about the earpieces and like reading in. I don't really like that. Come prepared, bring your stuff, have the questions in advance. There's no gotcha moments. And have somebody at your table who's prepared to speak on your behalf. So that's how I would have done it.
I think that's a good point, that if they had sent questions in advance, that would have been even better for our side of this, for Andrew's side of this, because you then had time to prepare. And if you still didn't answer the question, that looks even more damning on your side. So the fact that it was impromptu, people could say, oh, this she didn't know, or this, that, and the other, But yeah, if you gave it to her in advance, I think that's a very good point.
Then, at the bare minimum, a topic, like at the bare minimum,
Yeah. Well, and I think that her defending her claims is what we all wanted to see. It's what we did not get, but it's also, there've also been so many that there's half of it they didn't even cover. That there's a lot of
Half.
topics that they didn't even touch because it's been a year accumulating every cockamamie story you could think of. That when she's gish galloping and dancing around the question and then never answering, they didn't even get to. They didn't get to a fraction of what she has said over the past.
I think Jared's 100% right, because
I agree.
she really did employ every single tactic she had for not answering questions. And the beautiful thing about this format is Andrew could have given her all of these questions. He could have said, "You said Erica was complicit. You said dude stumbled in a skiff, right?"
Yeah.
Why didn't he do that? I think that's asinine to pay somebody $300,000 and have them sit and cherry pick and that's horrible. That's not a debate at all.
I think he was more scared he would get denied the debate. I honestly think that he was willing to take what he could get, and he was scared he wouldn't get the debate. I honestly think in his head he thought the opportunity to make money off of being the only person who has confronted Candace Owens on this would outweigh the money he had to pay, and he was more interested in having the debate than doing well at it.
I think it's a mistake, because what that tells me is I'm always skeptical of people who purport to be about justice and truth, but all they care about is eyeballs and money.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I have a big problem with people who have a microphone and just want eyeballs, and they don't give a shit what they say. Pardon my French. They just want to say things and build a clan, and I use that word purposefully. I'm concerned about that. That bothers me. I'm a guy, I'm not a content creator. I'm a lawyer first and always will be. I just happen to get invited on podcasts. I shoot my own opinion on things, and I have a big mouth, so it's easy. But I always try to speak factually. I always try to speak with a point. I don't try to say, I could tell you 20 things right now that make everyone go, oh my God, wow. Probably get some great sound bites for Instagram Reels and TikTok that add zero value to the practical discussion at hand. And so whether it's Andrew or Candace or both, I don't like formats like that. I think that it doesn't do a justice to people. If you want to frame things as, oh, we're bringing Candace and we're going to have a debate, do it properly. Put her on the spot. And you know what? If you're not going to get a chance to do it, then don't do it at all. That's what I would say. Because what's the difference between this and a passing Twitter commentary back and forth? Like, it's the same damn thing.
So do you all think that they probably discussed it before? And because he didn't bring up any of like the Egyptian planes, things like that. Do you think that was a part of the agreement? Because they took forever to go live. I thought she was backing out. I was like, she's going to say she's in labor. Like,
right.
No, I honestly think that before they started this, they definitely had an agreement of things he couldn't talk about. Like, and I think they probably dropped it on him when he showed up.
That's what I was wondering.
He was 100% under a non-disclosure of like, if we're going to do this, sign this first. And now we're going to communicate to you all the things you don't get to say. Because, let's be real. All of us online, we had a lot of questions for Candace. He asked the absolute weakest ones. Yep. He asked, if we had 10 questions that we needed answered from Candace, he asked 8 and 9.
Mitch Snow. People in the comments are like, Mitch Snow. I agree. That should have been brought up.
Yeah.
That was one of the biggest ones. One of the basis of her claim was that a guy was on Fort Huachuca, where I went to interrogation school. Guy was on Fort Huachuca. You cannot walk into a building in Fort Huachuca accidentally. But apparently this guy accidentally walked into a skiff. Which I'll tell you right now, if you guys want to understand how secure a skiff is, the skiff we were in Yemen, we got kicked out of country because we were having a top secret briefing, and the ambassador, who only had a secret clearance, wanted to come in and we wouldn't let him. And the next day, suddenly, not because he was delicate, because we had to go, of course, we got kicked out of the country. That's how secure a skiff is. You do not accidentally go into a skiff. You definitely don't go accidentally walk into a skiff where people are planning the assassination of an American citizen. But that's what we were supposed to believe with Mitch Snow, a civilian
Facts.
who was already wanted by the military, found himself on the military intelligence base of the military
On accident.
on accident. Yeah, he just happened to be there. And then he wandered into a skiff and happened to see the head of Turning Point USA Security in the briefing. Like the level of insanity required to believe that is, you know what? It's not even a level of insanity. It's a level of stupidity required to believe. Like, you don't have to be stupid. You have to be a moron.
To believe that, right.
And again, what he asked her about was, he was like, well, you know, what about the roof? And it was like, bro, did you get told there were things you couldn't ask? Like, what does your non-disclosure look like? Because I want that lawyer. Whoever wrote that non-disclosure, I want that lawyer.
I don't think that well, if he did, I think he should come out and say that he did, because he doesn't have to say that. You could say that I had to sign an NDA, but we got a lawyer here. I guess I could ask him, but you can sign an NDA, but I can't say what I wasn't allowed, or I can't talk about the contents of that NDA. Correct?
Well, certain NDAs, like ones that I write, the existence of it itself is confidential. So that could
Really?
Yeah. Oh, we do that all the time.
Otherwise, guys like me will come from the military and go, I did a lot of cool shit. Can't tell you about it because I signed an NDA. It's not the way it actually works.
If you disclose the fact that there is an NDA, there are inferences that can be drawn from that alone. So if I'm trying to protect a client from whatever it is, I want the existence of the document itself to be confidential. I don't want people to lecture on the fact that there is an NDA.
So then this is what I would have done. If Andrew did sign an NDA before he did that, this is just Jared's opinion. He should have said, absolutely not, under no circumstances. You're going to make me sign this, and you're going to restrict what I'm allowed to ask you. I'm walking out of here. I would have gotten on a Facebook Live and said, all right, guys, here's the deal. I'm getting back in the car. She wanted an NDA. She didn't want me to talk about Mitch Snow. She didn't want me to talk about Egyptian planes. She didn't want me to talk about this. I refused to sign an NDA, and she still got my $300K. So I guess I'm going to go find a good lawyer and see if I can get it back.
Maybe it's just my cheap self, but if I give you $300K and I'm going to have to sue you to get it back, and I'm at the end of a long line behind the French president and the head of Turning Point, like I might go along with it because I think I might still get you. Just because suing Candace, like, I mean,
everybody
you might as well be. It'll be quicker to wait at a ride at Disney before you get to do that.
Yeah, but think about what the messaging behind that to say that she is like, that would have been more valuable to me as a viewer than the debate itself. And he had no way of knowing how the debate was going to go. But to say that she wanted to restrict what he was allowed to ask, that to me speaks volumes. And I don't know. But yeah, that's what
I agree.
But that sounds like.
I have a thing to say about there's a super chat. Someone said that they were fighting over semantics about the charges. Now that we have an attorney here, everyone understands that wasn't the biggest important thing that happened, but all of Candace's followers are claiming that he got owned because he didn't know the specifics of the charges. And I looked up the differences between the murder and the aggravated murder. And the only difference is endangering other people around him. So what would you have said to Candace if she said, well, you don't even know the charges? It was not murder. It was aggravated murder.
Wait, can I also point out that the defense has submitted a filing to say that it wasn't aggravated murder, therefore the death penalty is not on the table?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Which is
But that's
a great
all I
point.
have right now. But what would you say to, like, if you were in that conversation and she was like, well, it's not murder, it's aggravated murder?
Yeah, well, I would say that's great. It's important to get the charges right. But we apply evidence to each charge. So whether he's being charged with aggravated murder, first-degree murder, felony murder, misdemeanor, the question is, what evidence exists to substantiate the charge? I think it is a little silly. I mean, if again going into a debate, I would have had the charges printed in my hand. Okay, that's a little weak. I'm just being straight. If I'm Andrew,
No, I agree.
I look weak as hell that I didn't know the charges. Now, the fact that you didn't know the charges, I don't have the charges memorized either. But I'm also not paying somebody $300,000 to have a debate that's going to be streamed to millions of people to look like a goofball. So I would have said, let's look at the charges. Let's pull up the charges. Let's look at the elements of each crime that is being charged. And let's put, again, let's be organized. Let's put a chart of what you think the evidence is to support the burden of proof to move this to trial. I would have brought it right back to where it's supposed to be. Instead, it became, it's almost like, to me, again, this is not exactly what happened, but to me, in my ears, I'm hearing my feelings are hurt because you don't believe me. And, you know, the earth is flat and this is on both sides.
Too, by the way.
On both sides.
She probably does think that.
I think she's a flat earther.
No,
You know,
the
and-
Earth isn't flat. It's centered around Candace.
So that means it's a donut. Okay, got it. So yeah, I think she believes that though. I'm sorry, but that's a great point. Thank you, Beard, and great question. All right, who would you have?
But remember, you are talking about a woman who married a gay man.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Hey, Baron Coleman does that all the time. He adds allegedly to everything. It's like a punctuation mark. My name is Jason. Allegedly, and I'm here. I mean, like literally,
his name. I expect his name to be at allegedly Baron Coleman.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, so Beard, who would you have liked? Let's say that they did have a proper debate format, which would have been amazing to start with. Who do you think would have been a good moderator, in your opinion?
I would have moderated it very well, better than probably most people. They should have called me. My DMs are open. Next time you want to do this, somebody asked me to do this because it was hard to watch. So now that I'm not available to do that because it's already happened, geez, I don't know. Maybe Judge Judy. I would have loved to see Judge Judy moderate this. Could you imagine her?
That would have been fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, because the second somebody starts talking and they're like 30 seconds off, she would have been like,
Oh my God! I never thought of Judge Judy. That is so.
Judge Judy would have been an excellent
She would have,
neutral.
but here's the thing: she would have stole the show.
If Judge Judy is watching this or eventually watches this when it gets clipped, for God's sakes, moderate this shit and moderate it and weigh into everybody. She would be an excellent. Short of her, I mean, I don't know. That's the best name I can think of. She's the most appropriate.
She wouldn't put up with Candace. That she would be like, get to the point.
I think she would call people out on a lot of things that were said. And one of the things that I think Andrew said that made him look bad and weak was, look, guilt is not an abstract concept. So when you come to a debate just saying, well, this person's guilty, the way to do that without losing credibility, again, if you're talking about a criminal probable cause hearing, which is what's been talked about, you would describe the elements of what's being charged and the weight of that evidence, okay?
Right.
I think he did a disjustice or an injustice by just being conclusive with things and just saying, well, there are fingerprints and he obviously did it. Or there's overwhelming evidence, I think he said at one point. And again, that's not the standard, okay? The standard is whether there's probable cause sufficient to move this forward to a criminal trial. You can frame it as there's DNA evidence, there's surveillance, there's alleged admissions, there's rifle evidence, there's ballistics. Everything holistically says that there's sufficient enough evidence to move this to trial. We're not at a trial. We're way before trial. There's not been a full presentation. So if you're going to be objective, and I understand that podcasters and content creators are not objective often, you can't presume guilt. You work with the evidence and you say what the evidence cuts in whichever way it cuts. You have to be objective about it.
Are you saying that we might be biased?
I think everybody's biased.
I'm offended.
I think everyone is biased. It's acknowledging that you have a bias that is the honorable thing to do. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody has a bias. There's not a single Judges have biases. That's why there's such a thing called recusal. And, you know, we
right.
look down upon in our profession. If you have a bias towards something or someone, you should recuse yourself. And if you do it and you sit through a trial anyway and it comes out later, you could lose your seat as a judge, right? It's a bad credibility hit. So everybody's biased. I mean, there's no 100% everyone's biased.
I have a question. Do you think it's going to be hard to pick a jury for this case because of how much attention that Candace Owens has brought to it?
It's a legitimate question. I mean, there's a chance that this gets moved to a different district. There's a very high chance. I mean, it happens. It's something that justice may require at this point. There's been so much media on it. The question is, if it's not fair where it is now, where is it going to be fair?
Well,
Somebody said Amish
there's
in the
going to be. I think there is going to be a ton of social media deletion when we start picking a jury. Like, there are going to be people like, oh, I got a jury notice. Okay, let me go delete my ex real quick. Like, because I think there's going to be so much social media deletion with this.
Yeah.
I have to go here in a second, but I just wanted to see if you guys knew. I haven't been online much today. But when did Andrew say that he was going to release those texts? Did he detail anything?
He said today, and then he didn't.
No, that's great.
I'm pretty sure he's going to delete them. I mean, he's going to upload them right along with the Egyptian plane data. I'm sorry. I personally, I don't care if those things were totally made up. I really don't.
But wait, I'm going to be real, JWhit. Is there anybody on the internet who gives a shit about Andrew backing his claims? Like, that was not why we watched this debate.
No.
None of us watched this to be like, oh, I can't wait to hear Andrew defend the state's case. No, we were like, yo, this crazy bitch has said some stuff. I want to hear her. And we never got to hear that.
I don't remember, so I didn't make a post about it. I was like, oh, he read a text. And I didn't
It was
see
in
a
the
lot of
opening
other
salvo.
creators. Well, yeah, and I saw a lot of other creators didn't make posts about it. So I agree. I think most people were like, okay, well, come on, Candace.
Can I got to go here in a minute, and I just
I got to go now. So
Yeah.
I'll
Thank
let
you so much,
guys
Nish.
Nish.
Thank you guys.
Nish,
Bye.
thank you.
Nish.
Yesterday, I think everybody saw that Luigi Mangione pled guilty, right? Yesterday in the federal court to stalking charges and admitted under oath that he targeted and shot Brian Thompson, right?
Well, yep.
There's an analogy here, and I want to make it. His lawyers are now using that, by the way, to basically say the New York charges should be dismissed because it's double jeopardy. He's going to plead guilty. Interestingly enough, for 2 years now, almost 2 years, the world watched and got to hear the evidence that might get presented at this trial, and what the jury would hear. And, there's forensics, there's writings, there's a backpack. But what actually happened in the trial, and this is what matters, the judge gets presented with the evidence, motions are filed to suppress, and guess what? A judge actually ruled in that case that the police conducted an unlawful seizure of his backpack and suppressed evidence. So when people look back, right, and I think, by the way, the result of that suppression motion and the ruling was the magazine, the cell phone, the passport, the wallet, the computer chip, whatever was in the backpack is not coming into trial to prove guilt or innocence for that matter. The reason why that matters is because where we are now is miles before where Luigi Mangione is. And so to make a conclusion on guilty, which is a legal framing, okay, not how I feel about whether somebody did something or not, right? What do your instincts tell you? That's a different question. When you ask somebody, is somebody guilty? That is a legal question. We won't ever know how that evidence would have played out in court because it was suppressed. It was excluded. And similarly, where we are now with, with this trial, evidence may get suppressed. DNA evidence may not come in. We don't know what's going to happen. So, and that's why I'm critical of people when they say, well, overwhelmingly, he's obviously guilty. No, but we can frame it as, if you have an alternative theory, where's your evidence on that?
I like it.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
And-
but that's 1,000% right, and that's what should have been addressed.
Correct.
in this debate. It was
Somebody
like,
get me as a mediator. Can somebody get me? Do you guys have connections? Can I
No, but
mediate this one? If you're watching and you have a connection to this, somebody get me as a mediator, because I won't tolerate nonsense. I would get into it.
But that's where I'll give Andrew credit. Was there was a part of this debate where he said nobody has a problem with you not believing the federal narrative. Like, because let's be real, none of us have a trust of the federal government. By the way, anybody in the chat, if you have a trust of the federal government, please know that you're very obviously retarded, right? But nobody has a trust of the federal government. If you just do a couple Google searches, you'll be done with it. So none of us have a trust of the federal government. Nobody had an issue with that. If you want to question the narrative, and this is where I've given classes on debating, and I actually call this jacking off. JAQING. It's the just asking questions narrative. Where you present your facts and you pretend you're just asking a question, but you continue to make assertions based upon questions, just asking questions. And that's the reality is, like, sure, if Candace came out here and said, well, I got questions about this, or I got questions about this, I have no doubt that everybody on this panel would have been like, I got you back on this. I'm with you. Like, cool, they need to explain this. We'll wait till trial. If they don't present this evidence, we'll continue to question it with you. But that's not what she did. What she did was make assertions.
Yep.
She made claims. And as all of us as content creators, we know that when you make a claim, especially if you're a conservative content creator, when you make a claim and it's wrong, ooh, you're going to live with that for quite some time, right? Like when people backed up the Mom Donnie's wife's making $400,000 supporting the housing initiative. Bullshit story. Had we made claims on that, now we're going to deal with every comment section going, oh, this is that bitch that was wrong about that, right? And that's the reality. That's what she's dealing with. But she's playing it like she's the victim because she's making insane claims under the guise of just questioning the narrative. We all support questioning the narrative, especially when it comes to the death of Charlie. If the government was involved, we'll burn this motherfucker down. Let me tell you right now, like, I'm with you. I'll set the fire myself on camera. But we are all evidence-based people, especially on the conservative side. We are evidence-based people. We go with the evidence. What we don't do is accuse people, good people, of doing bad things without evidence. And I feel like over the last year, that is what has separated people like us, people like Claire, people like Jared, people like Mohammed, like, I don't know how to say that first name. Is Rais. I'm sorry, I didn't want to mispronounce. People like JWhit, people like Jen, people like Gary, is that all we've done is say, hey, give me some evidence and I'm on your side. And she has failed to do that.
Yeah, and they try to scare people away, I think, from this perspective, from our perspective, because it's the old saying that, you know, if everything's a conspiracy, if you believe everything's a conspiracy, you're an idiot. If you believe that nothing is a conspiracy, you're an idiot. Like there's middle ground there, right? And we're by sitting in the middle ground, by not becoming polarized, we're fed slop. We're feds.
Yeah.
$7,000. We're, you know, everything that they can throw at people. And all we're trying to do is be reasonable about it. And there's no room for that on their side. And you're right. If there is evidence, we will happily change our opinion and move in the other direction. But the evidence so far tells a different story from what she is saying. And to the same thing that Rais has been saying, you got another theory. Show me your evidence. And let's see what passes the smell test. We'll bump one up against the other. I think that's a perfect point, Joe.
I think it's crazy too that people stopped caring about the quality of a question or a conspiracy. Any question will do. And it's absolutely asinine things, as we've seen with the Egyptian planes and, you know, the man walking on into a meeting. Like, it's craziness. And people have just ate it up. And all of us are like, wait, you can't prove that. There's no way to prove it. Why are you saying this in public as it's a fact? If you were just asking questions, I would be like, okay, I mean, that's a dumb question, but sure. But you're saying this is what happened and I have evidence and blah, 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 and I'll release it in 10 days, but you have to watch all my episodes and pay $9.95. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She kept bringing that up.
I kind of want to say. Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I had to switch it up. You said 7K. I had to switch it
Oh,
up to
I
my
love
7K
that.
club hat. I
Oh,
had to switch it
nice.
up to the 7K club. Just so y'all know, this is from Israel. Underneath it tells us what we get. We get into Benjamins, and inside it says, "I made the video. Now pay me my money." I just had to be
need
real.
one of those.
Little self promotion. Sorry,
That's
couldn't help
hilarious.
it.
I love it.
No, what I was going to say is I think the money side of it is what drives it. So making any claim, because Ray talked about this a little while ago, that a microphone ought to cost $1 million. So many people can come on and make content. You can say what you want to say. You can ride the coattails. In fact, Candace Owens made a whole career out of this. This is what she did, was she rode the coattails of more successful people. She went from doing a doxing website to PragerU and the Daily Wire and Charlie Kirk, and now she's got her own show. And I believe, much like Tucker Carlson, she needed the guardrails, and she sat within certain parameters when she worked for people, but doesn't know how to handle it once she gets out. But the people that come on these successful movements, based on what I firmly believe are lies and deception and all this that she has done, they can pop on and just exponentially increase her reach and the nonsense, and they make a ton of money doing it. We don't, by the way. I should point out that the people that sit on our side, while I was listening to a panel the other day of some of these folks, and they were saying what's Andrew going to benefit from this? He's going to, all these channels that follow
A lot.
No. This is what they were saying.
Do you notice all these creators on this live talking about him?
Well,
Yeah.
This is his upgrade from debating hoes on the whatever podcast.
Right.
It is.
But the point that they were making, that they were saying, was these channels that take the Fed slop narrative, as they say, they're all tanking and they're doing poor and they don't get as much reach. And then they went in the same line of conversation to say, oh, well, they're just in it for the money, for the grift. Yet the whole argument they're making is, and the kind of the comparison is, see how many clicks we get. Clicks and entertainment value, whatever it is, that makes us right. Candace is right because she's big, and the whole thing. It's a bunch of people who understand they can make a ton of money, and they don't see the responsibility in owning a microphone and a video camera.
Exactly.
They don't take it seriously, and they say, I can say whatever I want. And people, the point we've been trying to make all night is that it's directed at specific people to bring specific people down. And that's where, we're getting in some real moral, dicey territory morally, I believe, and legally.
What I like to say is a huge platform gives you a huge microphone, but not a lower level of responsibility.
There you go.
Yeah.
I think the bigger the microphone, the bigger the responsibility you have. And whenever I hear irresponsible creators who, and again, I don't think there's anything wrong. I hope this video gets 5 million views and 5 million shares.
I agree with that.
5 million likes.
I concur with the message.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the eyeballs should be a consequence of telling the right message.
Oh yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It should not be the inverse, where you care about eyeballs regardless of the cost of the message. That, to me, I have a problem with. Now, First Amendment protects your right to say things. It doesn't mean everybody should be saying things. I've said that many, many times. Just because you have a right to do something doesn't mean everybody should be doing it. And there's some people that just should STF you. You know what I mean? I mean, that's what I've learned as a lawyer doing this for 16 years.
No, but I think along with what Jared said was like those people who are going along with the narrative, they get less views. But let's be real, guys. Agreeing with things, all of us as content creators, we know that the way to grow is not to agree with people, right? Like we've never gotten, none of our hit videos are like, oh my God, I agree with what everyone says, right? All of our big videos are, well, let me tell you why everybody's stupid and I'm brilliant, right? That is what makes viral video. It's the girl who comes on, like the most viral video on social media right now is a girl who said that she was cheated on by George Washington. Like that's the most viral video right now. It's filled, her entire chat is filled with guys who changed their name to the founding fathers' names and are now assaulting her and playing like they cheated on her and she used them, right? Ridiculousness and arguing the narrative and fighting the mainstream media thought is what gets views. The problem is that Candace plays like she's being an investigator when really she is the National Enquirer of the internet. Like,
No
I
doubt.
feel like if the Charlie Kirk trial wasn't happen, I would check into her to see what happened with the latest aliens on Earth, right? She's so divorced from reality, so divorced from facts, but we're giving her credit, just like that aunt who reads the National Enquirer and you're like, you hear about that spaceship that landed in the backyard, right? And that's what we're giving credence to because that's what's fun. Believing the federal narrative, boring. It's really boring to be like, Tyler Robinson shot him. He's going to be put on trial. There's going to be evidence. But you know what's fun? Everybody's involved in it. We got this French /baguette /US, hit squad that's in the US and they're staying at Holiday Inns. Well, we got them because it wasn't Holiday Inn Express and they rented Priuses because they're also Greenpeace. And like, that's what's fun. But we also have to understand that the conspiracy theory is the realm of the stupid person. Is the person who cannot understand facts and is focused on what is exciting.
Yeah, you know what's funny too is that Candace and Tucker were on the cover of the Globe like a couple months ago, and when I saw that, my friend sent it to me, and I was like, I knew it. They're like the National Enquirer. They're on the cover of the Globe.
That's wild.
Guys,
Beard, before you leave, do you mind telling everybody where to find you, what you do, and why they need to go find you? This is your sales pitch. So go ahead and tell them why they need to go subscribe. If the moderators could please make sure we drop the Beard Lawyers links and all that in the chat. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Beard Lawyer on pretty much all socials. I'm very active on Instagram, Beard Lawyer, on TikTok, same handle. My Instagram, or excuse me, my TikTok's slightly different. It's the real Beard Lawyer. And you'll see I'm verified. And then my YouTube is beard.lawyer. So check me out. And yeah, look, if you have questions, people are welcome to send me questions and topics they want to talk about, or if you guys want to have me back, do another one-off or talk about something, I'm happy to oblige. And if somebody wants me to moderate an actual debate, somebody hit me up. I'm happy to do that too.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Beard. I think you were about to say you're going to bug out.
I'm going to bug out, and everybody should keep up the great work. I appreciate the discussion. This is good for your audiences to hear. So,
love it, man. Thank you so much, friend. Everybody type Beard in the chat. Thank you so much, friend, for stopping through, my friend.
Later,
Thank you again.
Thank you so much for being here. I do love the fact that we had a lawyer on here and we actually hit him up for legal stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely.
As it should be. I stay in my domain of expertise. I won't talk guns. I will talk law, though.
There we go.
All right, guys.
Take care. Take care, friend. Shooting. We're going to sort out the guns.
Let's do it.
Take care, Beard. All right, that was fun. Thank y'all so much, y'all. That was a lot of fun. All right, let's round these bases. So we've been talking about the discussion, Candace and Andrew's discussion. What is one question, if you could get either one, Candace or Andrew, to answer, they cannot dodge or dip, no juking and jiving, no filibustering. Who would you ask a question of, and what would be the one question? Whoever wants to jump.
I can hear you now. What were you saying?
Oh, no, you were really looking. Okay, I said, if you could get one of them, Candace or Andrew, to answer a question, they cannot filibuster, they cannot deflect, they have to answer the question. What would be the one question you would ask? Well, first of all, who would you ask the question of, and then what would be the one question? I'll answer my own question first to give you a second. I would ask Candace to show us the evidence of the French assassination plot. I've been wanting that forever. I want to see whatever the proof that you sent the federal government allegedly, whatever proof that you sent them, I want to see that. What you sent them, whether it be on text message, email, smoke signal, homing pigeon. I want to see what was sent to the government that says that the French were in collusion to delete you. That's what I would ask, and she would have to answer that. All right, anybody else? Who's next?
I guess I would ask what evidence she has that Tyler. This was asked and never answered. What evidence does she have that Tyler Robinson is a patsy?
That's what I was thinking too. I was still sitting here like, do I have any other ones? But the patsy, because she hasn't shown any evidence of that.
That's fair.
No. It like I say, it was asked but never answered. Didn't touch it. They moved on to another topic. But I would also, post debate, I would ask Andrew. First off, I would ask him if there was an NDA. I would really love it.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess we said he has to be able to answer. So go ahead.
Just between you and me, buddy, was there an NDA? But, and maybe he'll do this or he's done it and I haven't seen it. But did he think that did the debate or the conversation go the way he thought it was going to go? Like, how would he or how would he do it differently? Because this is, we kind of treated this like it was going to be the end all be all. It's the thing that was going to settle a lot of things. And it just didn't. It fell completely flat in my mind. I other than me going deeper into my corner in the belief that Candace Owens is a psychopath. And I should have asked Beard that if with all of this, hearsay stuff, if it or defamation, do they take psychosis into account? Or
wow,
oh my god,
I love it.
You can just say it, and mental health disorder. We'll go with that, like an insanity plea. But yeah, no.
Okay.
What he meant was, are you retarded?
Yeah.
Like, let's be real. That's the real question. Like,
that's a $10 question.
Like,
that's for sure.
Let's be real. Like, in common speak, is, bitch, are you retarded? Like, that's really the question.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Joe or Claire, what's a question that you would ask? Who would you ask, and then what would be the question?
So I would ask Candace, and I would say, what is the defining thing that you have evidence for that causes you to question the narrative? Okay. Because she has done so much to say that she questions the narrative, and that's always fine. But there has to be evidence behind it, right? Especially if you question a narrative of a case. If you question the Amber Heard case, you had evidence behind it. If you question any case, you have evidence behind it, right? And it would be just to try to pull her out of, well, I got 60 conspiracy theories going. Like I don't like what's that show? It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia when Homeboy was at the wall with all the red lines. And
yeah, okay.
And like, that's Candace. She's there with all them red lines, but I just want to pull her back to reality and say, okay, what is the evidence that pulls you away from the narrative? Like, what is the thing that caused you? Because I know what the answer is money, right?
Yeah,
he knows there's money in doing it, and I want her to go. I want her to tell me, give me the evidence that pulled you away from this. Not crazy narratives. Not I'm so upset he's fucking Erica instead of me, and all what we know is reality. Right, I want to know the evidence. Give me something. I want to challenge her to give me a basis of evidence based in reality, not in some fantasy world that she lives in that pulled her away.
I can dig it. What you got, Jared? Claire. Do you have something else?
I do.
Jared.
The one thing,
we got two Jareds. This is weird.
So if I could ask Candace anything and she had to respond, I would ask her what happened truly between her and Erica Kirk. First off, I would want to know the backstory because there's something going on there. And second, I would want to know why she insists that anybody could be guilty except for Tyler Robinson. Because not only does she think he's a patsy, she thinks anybody else would be more acceptable if they were guilty. Like she lands twigs. She, is everybody on earth, the, Israel, TPUSA. I'm like, why? What is it about Tyler Robinson specifically that makes you want him to be innocent?
Correct.
Now,
That's
those would be a couple if I had to. And then she has to answer. It would be glorious.
Okay.
No, wait,
okay.
Could I ask this? Because I'm super curious because like I watched Andrew Wilson and Candace Owens sit together. Can I ask?
Sit down.
Can I ask what everybody else here like if you had an opportunity to do one thing differently than the way Andrew did it, whether it's with the setup, whether it's with the questions, whether it's with the time restraints, whether it's with the moderator, what is the one thing you would have changed about that?
I would have had Enzo from Lethal Weapon.
You're wild, man.
Just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I would have had a neutral place to meet. I wouldn't have met there
Right.
because I do think with, I think she had the advantage. I find it convenient if she had somebody giving her information, like the document, she knew everything, and he didn't. I think that that played into a huge part of the Candy cult believing that she won the debate when in reality she just probably allegedly had somebody saying the answers. I think if they had been somewhere more neutral, that those type of things wouldn't have happened.
Hands down, the format. I just think if they, because I think Andrew would have thrived in a debate. You know, the 1 minute, 2 minute, the rebuttal, the cross examination format. If it had just been the format had been right, and of course, you almost can't say the format without adding the other little accessories and such like that. So like a better moderator, questions and things like that being posted on the screen so everybody knows what we're discussing, or or whatnot like that. But hands down, the format. The format was, again, this was just like, I call it a coffee clutch. I'm gonna call it the Candace Owens coffee clutch. It might as well have been sitting there sipping tea. Because it wasn't a debate, it was a coffee clutch. Shout out to coffee clutches. But yeah, that was a great question. Yeah. All right, good people. We got to get we got some great super chats that I'm going to just ask Jen to bring up so we can shout out these people. Thank y'all so much for supporting the stream, whether you are on my channel or Jared's channel, all the other channels that have been streaming this. Thank y'all so much. Jen's just going to pull these up. I do want to make sure we respect y'all. And this, of course, is from this Yahoo. Thank you for the chance to rock out with the top tier team. Let's go. I know that guy. Shout out to me.
Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, that guy puts out.
Well, there we go. You know Steve? You saying about Steve? Man, okay. Shout out to Steve. Thank you for supporting the stream. Andrew was correct. TR, Tyler Robinson, is charged with murder. Aggravated only enhances the actual charge. Semantics wasn't worth arguing over. I agree. Medical report is hearsay, Joe. Texts were not. And I do want to bring it up.
If you tell me medical reports are hearsay, I will fight you on this.
Right. How many topics did Candace walk back? There were quite a few.
All of them?
She was straight Michael Jackson with the walk back.
Right.
So
yeah, this was definitely.
I can give you definitively 4. So one is Israel. The other is Tyler Robinson being a patsy. The other is Erica's complicity.
Yeah.
And then I guess you would call it this, but her confidence in Tyler Robinson being the person. So, because there's kind of two statements in that. One is that Tyler Robinson is a patsy, which is what she has said. And then she just said, I believe that he's a patsy because of what. So it's not as definitive. So if you want to hear that, a walk back. But she just said, and when it comes to his guilt, she has said Tyler Robinson didn't kill Charlie Kirk. In the debate, she said, I don't think that they have sufficient evidence to prove that he did, which is a much softer statement.
I'm going to tell you right now, sounds like goy slop to me.
It does. It sounds like Candace maxing. Let me also just add, she walked back the idea that Tyler Robinson was never at UVU.
And if he was the exploding mic.
She walked back, the exploding mic.
Well, Andrew reminded her, hey, by the way, when shit explodes, it has smoke.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's keep it going. This is $2 to Jared. Thank you so much for the kind shout out.
Oh, yeah.
Same Joe Kent who verified Mitch Snow? ? I would bet that this is the One Village Crazy Lady reference and who Candace texts about the fake plot. Thank you so much, Ruben. I appreciate you. Again, hold truth with the 2. Andrew Wilson, 1 objectively, but Candace Owens not held to standards. I agree. There are pending suits, so she can't talk about events that are included in those suits. Thank you, Joe for 9 for the 5. That's a good point. Like, there's a lot of lawsuits waiting in the wings. Greg says this was a 20. Andrew paid $300,000 to double Candace's view count. Darn it.
Yep.
I mean, there's no lie detected. He got show West. We already know. She has no evidence for her claims.
Let's
I
be
can't
real.
disagree.
She sucked, but he was holding both cheeks.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. That's wild what you just said. My theory, her spiral began in
Hold on, wait, I just want
2024.
to point out, he said it was wild, but he confirmed it.
Well, there we go. Right after Eminem dissed her on his new album, Never Goes Well for People, she did an entire show ranting that he may be third most streamed rapper, but jealous of her because no one knows who he is now. That's interesting. I'm going to tell you right now, I think Candace has always been staving off a mental breakdown. She's been just staving it off through, again, I don't think it started in 2024. I don't know when we can say the genesis of it is, but it's been an ongoing train wreck for a long time. So shout out. With the 5 says this, I wish Andrew would have pushed back harder when she claimed her sources, but backed up by all the photos and evidence she put on her show. That's an excellent point. I definitely agree with that. Shout out for sure. Best part of the discussion, Candace asked to show the text Andrew got from COVID, and he replied, I'll slow drip it on my show. I mean, can she really say anything?
Let's be real. That's the Candace method.
I mean, that's really it.
When Candace is like, I got a crazy text, tune into my next episode.
Right. To the next 3 episodes, and I won't have told you in any of those. Thank you so much for 5. It doesn't matter who's debating her because she won't answer any questions. She deflects, filibusters, and cries because she has no evidence. That's why I think the format would have dealt with that. I do believe that the format would have wrangled a lot of that in. Kind of like if you have unruly children, having a format, a routine helps even with the unruly child. They know they can only do but so much because the format or the routine of mom and dad's guardrails work and help them out. Viva Fry is perfect person to face off with Candace and he's a lawyer. Shout out. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
But I feel like he would have defeated a lot of her being like, well, I can't say this because of the case. And they'd been like, yeah, you can. I'm going to tell you as a lawyer, you can go ahead and say this.
But also the whole looking over to the moderator for a lifeline would have
that's not normal.
Away. Right. Like, can you help me out over
Candace
here?
Looking to Viva. Viva would have been like, bitch, answer the question.
Right.
Why are you looking at me?
I don't know if Viva would have said it exactly like that, Joe, but hey, man, I like how you said it. Who could have been a better moderator? I think we talked about that. Thank you again for the 2. Candy tells Andrew, I'm not the one on trial here after a year of Inspector Gadget accusations and alibi demands. I don't see a lie detected. I'm looking for the lie. Shout out to Raven with the $1.50 super sticker. Thank you very much. It says this, been a member for a month. I hope Erica, their kids, and his family get justice, and I only pray the internet doesn't F it up.
Same.
Very same. Now, real quick, if you got a gift membership from Mike, please put thank you, Mike, in the chat. We're here in the South with Southerners, and we say thank you. So make sure you say thank you, Mike, for the membership. Thank you, Mike, for that. Let's keep it moving. And again, if you got over on Tactical, same thing. Thank you, Mike. Mike is blessing folk. Thank you, my friend. I'm here for JWhit. Oh, well, thank you. Grace and peace to you, sir. The accuser of the brothers who accuses them before the Lord has been hurled down. Revelations 12:10. And that accuser of the brethren is Candace. Rachel Wilson came out yesterday and said there's so much that Andrew wants to say, but is not allowed. Okay, that probably answers. That
answers the question.
If they mentioned it, they could cause a mistrial. You know what? I'm kind of with Jared. If that was the case and they kind of surprised him when he knocked on the door, he came over, you thinking they're going to bring you come to the door with cookies, they come to the door with an NDA. I would have been better off him saying, no, y'all, no, I'm good. I'm not going to do an NDA. I want to ask you any question, every question. I probably would have respected that better. If If it would not have given us the dumpster fire that we saw yesterday, I would have respected that and just said, no, y'all, she wanted to do all this crazy stuff. We couldn't do that. Candace is a master of circumventing questions. Something I want to see is a contract for the debate. Seems like something we should be privy to. Okay, that's a good point. I would like to see that. Can you explore the Utah Code 1102, what it allows? And we kind of talked about that, and I saw that question a little bit earlier. Thank you, Vinny. I'm sure we'll be.
I just want to point out to Vinny, it's only three addendums that do that. It's literally one whole page, and it handles everything. It's really easy to read. Just look up Utah 1102. I promise you, it's read in common speak. It's not legal speak. It's very straightforward.
I love it. Thank you, friend. Beard, I think Beard saw this after the fact. But thank you, Mindy Ann, for being a member for 7 months. Patriot Lady says this with a 10. What she getting at was that the parents didn't turn him in, I think she meant to say in. It was the sheriff's friend. She was trying to tie the friend as a means to say that Tyler Robinson was a patsy. Okay.
Well, obviously, the sheriff friend works for Israel.
Or
the US government.
France.
Or the Mormon bee cult.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's also the Mormon beekeeping cult. So we got to.
Or Rode Microphone.
Does he like top hats, gold plates, and he's from Syracuse?
Or Rode Microphones.
Yeah.
For race.
Imagine you find like a little 30K dump from Rode Microphone. You're like, oh, shit.
Race. Candace, and he's already gone, but Candace said that the defense can only respond to evidence not present. If defense has clear exculpatory evidence wouldn't they present it? I think they could. I think they can present it, yeah.
The question was, wouldn't they present it?
Right. Oh, wouldn't they present? Gotcha. I got to learn this. Thank you so much, Wild and Wired Media with the 10. I would say it was worth the $300,000 if his strategy was to get footage of them for them to use in court for a lawsuit against her. What does the Beard lawyer think? I can rock with that.
I'm going to tell you what, bring him back. Let's hear it. I want to hear about lawsuits.
We're going to bring Beard. We'll have to make sure Beard comes back. All right, what we got here with the 5? Thank you so much, Patriot Lady. He tried to set up the debate this way, but she wouldn't do it. Andrew Wilson is going to release their email exchanges. Now that I'm all about that. Yes. Then
I would love to see that.
We will come back for that. I'm back for that carnage. Please.
I will before the next season of my favorite show.
Well, hold on now. Let's look at the camera. Now, Andrew, don't drip that out to us. We need that. We need that in its full batch. We need the whole thing. Dump it all out, please. Don't drip it out to us. Don't do that to us.
Yeah,
no, I agree.
Don't string me along. This ain't a soap opera, motherfucker. Tell me.
Tell us, right? Here's email number 1. Stay tuned for the reply.
3 weeks later.
3 weeks later. And we got that whole long email chain when you've been emailing back 45 times. That would be crazy. Don't do it to us, Andrew.
I'm going to tell you right now, Andrew, you need me to pay attention. We got to sleep together before I pay that much attention. So you better give it to me.
Jeez. Awkward. Pause.
I'm sorry. Pause. Right now, who's the last person you paid attention to for 3 weeks? 3 weeks you weren't sleeping with?
Jeez. Pause. We gotta get Joe out of here. We gotta put Joe in timeout, y'all. We gotta put Joe in timeout. Oh my gosh, Joe.
We'll all pretend everybody listens to everybody's messages, even when they don't like them. It's fine. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay. I love it. All right, let's keep this dance going. Jen, all right. See, Jen passed out laughing at you, man. She gave up on us, man. You killed Jen, man. Oh, there we go.
We're like, Jen, you okay?
Right?
Yeah, I got to say this now because Gary's on vacation, so I got to get this in now.
Clearly. Did Andrew ask for questions, suggestions from the audience beforehand? I don't think so. Did he?
I don't think I saw that.
I kind of think Mitch Snow isn't of interest to him, he asked his questions. Okay, I can rock with that. Okay, I can dig that because I don't think they definitely weren't crowdsourced, so no question. Why not only half a billion, half the money before? He'd have more leverage. That's a good. Now I do think giving her the whole batch was insane. Like,
Yeah.
But hold
that
on,
was-
yeah.
let's be real. Do you think she would have done it if he only offered half?
Probably not.
Like, I think he was desperate to get her.
yeah,
I think you're right that it was an act of desperation. He's like, fine, I'll source it. Or he already had what 150,000 that had been.
well, no,
The
he
guy-
had 150. Your guy from whatever doled up 200, so he already had the bread.
Yeah.
But again, like I kind of like that half. Let's make sure we get to the end. Because what would have happened if she came in and started throwing pejoratives and ad homs?
I'll be
And-
real. That would have got more views.
Yeah.
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 Like if she showed up when she was like, "Bitch, motherfucker, weed," like he would have been like, "Yo, this is content for days."
Right.
Yeah, but here's the thing that I don't understand. She's the one that required the no ad hom addendum, and she called him an a-hole
Right
Yeah.
from the beginning, she did.
during the debate. So that is a forfeiture of the $300,000.
Now, hold on, wait, Jen, is there a clause in the agreement that if somebody violates the agreement, you get the money back? Like I've been to Kmart, there's not always a refund policy.
I would like to see the agreement, but he said that if there was an ad hom, I think I have a clip somewhere. I'll have to go back and find it, and I'll post it. But if you launch an ad hom attack, you forfeit the debate. And by forfeiting the debate, that I would assume it means you forfeit the $300,000.
All right, so he gets to be the 14th or 15th lawsuit in her queue.
Yeah, no kidding.
Easily,
Okay, guys,
easily.
I have to go. But
Claire,
I
thank you,
wanted
love.
to- Thank you. Have a great night. Thanks, everybody in the comments for all your support. See you guys later.
See you soon, friend. All right, guys, we're gonna blitzkrieg
I'm
through
still mad at Claire that I wasn't invited to the chat.
Yeah. I know all these people coming. Whatever.
Oh, you mean the 92?
Yeah, I wasn't invited to the show. Although I'm small. I'm a small channel. I'm small potatoes.
Yeah, y'all. You know what, man? If we keep this chat going, maybe I'll put in a special. I'll put in a special request to send you a membership application to join the 92.
There you go.
All right.
I could be
I'm
agent.
just saying.
I could be agent 100. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, there's some recycle numbers too. By the way, I can probably get you some other numbers. We'll see. We'll reach out to some people. I know some people. What are we talking about anymore? Degradation, says MTX, is a ratio of old broken down DNA to fresh intact DNA. Handle something for months and you leave both. Most degraded could be the longest handling, like if you own it and practice with it. Yeah. And I asked the question earlier in the chat, like what about hand sanitizer? Like, does that mean that it won't degrade your DNA fingerprint? Like, again, this is, to me, the whole trying to hold on to the degraded DNA thumbprint or fingerprint
And
was
let's
silly.
be real. This was a dude sleeping with a dude, so I imagine there was a lot of lotion going on.
I can't stand you, man. Get
Lot of lubricant.
Joe out of here. Get Joe out of here. Hold on.
honest
Let me find how to get
honest-
Joe out
wait,
of here.
honest question. Does lubricant fuck up DNA?
Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
Y'all just type Joe in the chat. Just type Joe. Just type Joe in the chat. I don't even know what we're saying it for, but just type Joe in the chat.
Oh,
Joe is out. Joe is absolutely positively out. He asked would Diddy's thumbprints be on the gun?
For
Get out of here, bro.
Why was the case against Diddy so hard? Because there was so much lubricant.
Oh,
Oh
golly.
my gosh, why? I'm trying to make it through this.
Goes
I'm trying to get through here.
places, man.
Jen is sending me messages. I'm trying to be respectful.
Oh,
I'm trying to get there, but then we got Joe. I'm trying to work, but we got Joe. This is it, man. This is like what is going on here? Joe, I'm gonna need you to turn your microphone off and put yourself in the corner. Put yourself in the corner.
It made my eyes water.
Right. There we go. All right, let's get done with these. I think it looked worse that Candace didn't know the dude she's trying to exonerate admitted to being in the staircase and in the roof where her BFF, best friend for life, for real, was sniped from. Way worse than Andrew. That's a great point. Thank you, MCX. Best friend for life. Well, there it is. For real. Also, do y'all think Epstein is guilty?
I don't want to mute, but I'm going to give you credit because I was trying to figure that out.
I had no clue what that was.
It's funny because there's an ethnic joke about Black people being able to read these types of things like this, and it's true. Like that's a stereotype that is hands down true. You can do that to Black people, and Black people will be able to read something. You're like, what the heck is that? And it just makes sense to us. I don't know why. A lot of people have critiqued Andrew, but he did what he was there for, which is to prove Candace had no evidence. She didn't show a single piece. And Abdu with the 5, thank you. You are correct. I think we all will give him that. We just wanted, but we already knew this. So like to what Joe said earlier, we didn't come to see Andrew argue his point. We came to see Candace flounder, and we saw some flipping and some flopping, right? We just wanted more flipping and flopping and trout behavior. That's what we wanted. Is that fair? Like it's not that he didn't do a good job. We just believe he could have done a spectacular job by holding her feet to the fire and her flipping and flopping and making a fool of herself. I think it could have been more. Is that fair?
That's fair.
Okay, I think that's really because again, I don't think he did terrible. I think the format was horrible. I think and the foot holding to the fire was just not there. That's the point. Joe, you can unmute yourself if you're going to behave.
No, I agree completely. Okay. Your answer was 100% right. The format was the problem.
Yeah. Let's keep this dance going. I mean, these people are blessing the stream. Thank y'all so much for sponsoring and helping out the stream. Jason, did you see my email? Yes, I did. I sent you a reply back. I guess I'll watch even though Gary isn't hosting. LOL. Why didn't Andrew hold her feet? Well, there you go, to the fire. It was a waste of a debate. I don't disagree. I think it could have been better. That's all we're saying. And now, to the point, though, he did prove that she didn't have any evidence. I just think we could have got more spectacularness out of it. I agree with.
If we had followed JWhit's format, it would have been so much better.
What was my format again?
Your format was to actually have questions, things that were put out on the internet. You have to answer these questions. You have to give us the evidence. That would have been better.
I agree 100%. Yes, I agree with myself. And you agreeing with me. I agree with all of that. Now, Matthew says this. I agree with Candace that it's not a clear image of Tyler on the roof. When you add together all of the evidence, there's not a doubt in my mind it's Tyler, which is the point that everybody's making. It's not just one piece. Just like if you go to a barbecue, the barbecue, you go to the barbecue, it's not just coleslaw. It's not just corn on the cob. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects that make up the barbecue. Does that make sense? Right? Again, like it's not just the kids playing at the pool and you playing cornhole. There's a lot of aspects that come to it. You wouldn't just talk about the cornhole game. Oh, yeah, I went to a barbecue, play cornhole. Well, did you eat anything? Did the kids do anything? I mean, there's a lot of aspects to it that are put together to make up the full, complete picture. Furball said this, I'm super late, but it just occurred to me that the whole thing is proof Candace Cole is a bunch of leftists because they never criticize her, but we can call balls and strikes on Andrew's performance. No doubt, no question. Excellent point. My question, what did the restaurant tell you, Candace? Then show the Facebook post from the restaurant owner where he said that Tyler Robinson didn't eat there.
So wait, just to chime in on that one.
Yeah.
So what's his name? Diligent Denizen or whatever, her boy? He argued that the owner wasn't there. So he posted his interview with the actual waiter who was like, yeah, I totally think it was Tyler Robinson. He goes, okay, so you have evidence it was Tyler Robinson. He goes, no, I just know it was him. And then he posted the same edited receipt we've all seen. And it was like, oh my God, if you just take off the blur, we break this case wide open.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy work.
Yep.
Charlie was unalived by a French that was flown in on an Egyptian plane. Everyone knows this. I mean, you're right, Brody. Thank you for the 5. We agree.
But I'm being paid $7,000 to tell you that didn't happen.
There you go. Joe, I'm a Jew and can't find where to get that 7K hat. I mean, get the 7K. Can you please point me to the right direction, or at least tell me where I can get that hat? Thanks.
I'm going to tell you right now, I met Benjamin Netanyahu, and I had to show him that my hands were lotioned and they were soft, and that's how it started.
Whoa, but where's your DNA? I don't want to know that answer. I don't want to know that answer. Explain the necklace flying off Charlie's neck. No, I don't know. Next question. What am I supposed to do with that? Joe would have decimated Candace. I agree.
In so many more ways than one.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I'm disappointed that one of the hosts didn't call out Joe for using the F word in reference to Erica. I'm not a prude, but very low class. Well,
look, I think Erica is fucking awesome.
I don't know where to go. I want to remind everyone, thank you so much, Crimson King, everyone. She said there's 0% chance that Tyler Robinson didn't do it. Now rewatch the debate discussion. I just rewatched it and feel Andrew did better than what people are saying. Okay. And I just think even like bringing those contradictory statements up. And real quick, I think that part of the problem that for her in the multitude of words there's sin, she spoke so much that she gave Nathan and Milk Bar content for a month. He could drop a video a day for a month and probably not have reached the pinnacle of the contradictory statements that she made. So to me, I do think that that's a great point. I also think that Curtis, oh, go ahead. Were you about to say something, Joe?
No, I was just going to say, I do think that what you go in believing changes your perception of the debate. Like if you went in and you were like, Tyler Robinson's guilty, you came out fine. But if you came in like we do, where, let's be real, we're skeptics of everything. We want everybody to prove everything. So, but I do believe what she said. Like if you went in, you were like, Tyler Robinson didn't do it. You'll leave the live going, Candace is amazing. If you went in believing he did it, you'll be like, Andrew crushed it. So I get that. I mean, I get that. Like it's your point of view going into the debate.
And my hope was that going into it, that it's not necessarily us. Was Candace Owens ever going to change my mind? No. I mean, right. Was Andrew going to change the, degenerate denizens or any of those other people? No, you're not going to change Ian Carroll's mind. He's 100% certain that it was, whatever Jew B cults and all that other stuff. But do I think that some of the people who are legitimately paying attention, legitimately asking questions that might be teetering, those people, is it going to tip them one way or the other? And I question whether it would. You had to listen really close, and if you noticed her gish galloping and her dancing around the answers, some people probably came over to, okay, well, she never really said anything. But let's be honest, most of the people watching that type of social media content, they were largely unchanged. That's why I don't think it was an overall win for one side or the other.
Well, like a good example is like I put up the entire debate, my reaction. It's going to have 200 views. I'm going to put up clips where Candace owns him or he owns Candace. Each of them will have 50,000, 100,000 views.
Yeah.
Because people want the drama. They don't care about the truth.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Fair.
That's fair. Thank you so much, Curtis, man. Thank you with the 50. Y'all put Curtis in the chat. He says rapid eye movement and a sharply increased blink rate reflects deception, can indicate deception. Researchers have found measurable changes in blinking and eye behavior under some deception conditions. I agree with that. I also think that's why the cameras were angled like they were. So like when Andrew was talking, you looked at Andrew only. When Candace was speaking, the same thing. Instead of doing the whole camera, the whole room, because I think we would have been able to see some body language that would have cued us off to some things. That was just my observation.
But that's a rule in some presidential debates. So like when Trump was debating Biden, they had a rule that the person who was talking was the only person who had a camera on them. You couldn't have a camera on the person who was being talked about because you might see them squirm. Like that's something that's actually negotiated in big debates.
I totally believe it.
Shout out to
Now-
the body language expert who was in our group of 92.
That's right. Shout out to him. That's right. Don't put him on blast though. All right. The debate review from Rikiti Law was pure fire. You should check it out. Okay. If y'all could drop it in the chat, the mods can drop it in the chat. Everybody make sure you go check that out.
That comment is 100% right. If you haven't seen Rikita Law's breakdown of the actual debate, it's worth a read. It's a long read, but it's so worth it.
Is it a video or
it's a long
expose?
I mean, they did a video as well, but there is a long like transcript of it, which what I end up reading, but it's so good.
Got it. Okay, I just pulled it up. Oh, this is long. Okay, never mind. Oh, this is long. Never mind. I didn't read it. I didn't see it. Never mind. It's 7 hours. Man, come on, man. That's cruel and unusual. Claire, are you MAGA Meg still doing your show together?
The answer is yes. They're still doing the show.
Okay, cool. I didn't know that. Shout out. Thank you so much for the 5. Andrew's crew was on Gary's space last night and told us what happened. Go listen and start where Mr. Enigmatic and Rob Known comes in. Okay. Thank you, Mindy. There is no way Tyler's defense doesn't know the validity of the text in the brief is proof, in my opinion. Evidence locked before shooter was known as well. Mr.
So that was a touch on Candace trying to argue that anybody could have logged in and posted on his Discord. But the beautiful thing about Discord is that as somebody who has his own Discord, if you log in on your computer and send something, or you log in on a phone and say something, it logs where you sent it from.
Correct.
Okay.
Mr. E said it was in the contract, but I don't know what it means exactly. Who's Mr. E? Mr. Enigmatic, I think. Interesting. Candy refused the neutral arena. Andrew was there in good faith and it showed. He deserves more credit while Candace Owens is nothing but bad faith actor and a bad host. She doubled her money with ads and super chats. Thank you so much, D, for the Lady Allen for the 20. And I agree with you. And again, I think we just wanted more flipping and flopping.
I feel like I've come down kind of hard on Andrew, post debate. And I was thinking about it this morning and I thought, here I am. I'm one of those guys who is, well, nobody did anything right. I'm just going to say bad. I'm going to be critique everybody. And I wasn't.
You're a curmudgeon, man. You're just a contrarian, man. You're old and curmudgeon.
A contrarian.
Oh wait, I got to point out that he skipped over Steph's super chat.
What? I didn't skip over.
He skipped over lots of lube. I'm just saying, I was right.
No, that was me.
Now I'm not in control of that. That's Jen.
I posted it. I pulled it up. I did pull it up.
But she did not loiter.
Me.
But she did right.
She did not loiter.
Thank you for the 2. Y'all put Joe in the chat. Just type Joe in the chat. And every time Joe's name is mentioned, we're going to put him in 0-second timeout. Okay? Surprised she didn't induce labor to skip the debate. Actually, I was saying that. I was saying that's what happened. Why it started late. I said she went into labor.
So I wasn't the only one who saw it start late and was like, she's about to pull some pregnancy.
Oh, no.
Bullshit.
I was saying that in real time. I was saying that she started going into labor or she faked something. That's what I was saying. If it means anything, I'm a therapist, and in my opinion, Candace is a narcissist. So a debate was a bad idea from the beginning. She's brilliant at gaslighting. The only person who could debate her and win in a landslide is Ben Shapiro.
Yes, but he'd need a booster seat. We can't do that.
Can't stand you. 2 days, Candace shared Destiny's reaction praising her. I'm telling you emphatically, Candace would post the devil If Satan himself hopped up on this here interweb and say Candace did a great job, she would post the devil.
Yeah.
Beelzebub himself. She does not care. If it were possible to resurrect all the malcontents of history and had them praise her, she would put them up there without batting of an eye. It doesn't matter. She doesn't care. If they are stroking her ego, they are going to get plenty of lube to do so. All right, there you go, Joe. That was for you. I'm here for Joe. What up, everyone? I just want to try to kill. I was just trying to make you pass out and laugh, man. What does Jacqueline say here? She also claimed that Vegas Jews brought this election, so Trump had to go along with Unalive and Charlie Kirk. I think technically that would mean Elon runs Trump. Everybody runs. I mean, the conspiracies
I love it. I love it when crazy people pay $4.99.
Let's be honest, though. If Candace got obliterated, I can say with overwhelming certainty, 75 to 85% for someone to change their worldview takes a long time. But it did show Candace is full of crap. Thank you so much, Crimson King. Does this panel think Candy will debate anyone again, or is she done? I think it was on because of the money.
I'll crowdfund $300,000 if she'll debate me, because I will be significantly less nice than Andrew. I promise you.
Yeah.
I don't think she will. I mean,
she doesn't need to. Let's be honest. She doesn't need to. It's the runaway train, and I've thought about this a million times. That channel is just going to keep growing. We keep creating new people, and we keep, it's just going to keep growing. It's going to
before this debate, she was losing an average of 12,000 followers a week.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Interesting. How many has she? How many has she gained any from this thing?
No, we haven't. Well, we don't have the reports from Social Blade yet.
Yeah.
But we know that
going
from when she started to go to Spain, she was losing an average of 12,000 followers a week. And I'm sure this will boost her because any attention boosts you.
Yeah.
But generally, when she does her show, since 7 weeks ago, she has been losing 12,000 followers a week.
Wow.
So looking on Social Blade yesterday and today, she gained 10,000 followers both days. So 20,000 followers the last 2 days. But to your point, she hadn't had a positive uptick. Now, granted, when you have multiple millions of subscribers on Social Blade, you do have to get past the 10,000 to actually move the needle. But she had none. But if they add up cumulatively, it would still, she's had none in the last 14 days, except yesterday and today. So, I mean, there's definitely something there.
Yeah.
There's something there. But let's keep it going. Forgot to mention that I'm also a Jew, so my opinion might be disqualified. Here's your 7K. There we go. Where'd you get the ad from?
Just to be clear, I made this ad. I made this ad. I had 100 made, and I told people, if you've been accused of being part of the 7K club, we'll send you it for free. And within the first 4 minutes, we ran out of them.
Oh, wow.
I'm sorry, Joe. You need to sell the hat.
Yeah.
No. We tried to sell it, but like the same company that makes these hats, like these freedom hats from Charlie Kirk, or looking for blue, like we got them all. And we support Charlie. We support his cause. And I never try to make money off of shit. But I will say I'm going to Poland in like a week. And anybody who wants to speak good of Israel, I'm going to throw this on her head.
I love it.
Nice.
Okay. JWhit, finish the Epstein super chat. Did I miss something? What's the Epstein super chat? It goes to Candace's logic. Also, we need to look into the overlap between Chris Watts and Lindsay Clancy's mommy's fans. We're being gaslit into that this is normal.
But y'all know about the Lindsay Clancy case, right?
Feel
It's
free.
the woman who choked 3 of her kids to death with exercise bands.
Dang.
And women online are saying that, oh, she's not responsible, or it was her husband, or coming up with conspiracy theories. They've already raised $467,000 for her as part of the case. It's insane.
Wow.
Can I just jump in here for a second? Because I've watched everything up to Friday for this trial. And I can tell you without question, I'm a mom. She's guilty. She needs to go to jail. And it is absolutely asinine that people are raising money for this woman who murdered her children. And she did get help. Yes, I do understand that she went to different doctors, but she did not take the medication that was prescribed to her. So if she would have taken the medication prescribed to her for depression and all the other stuff that she was diagnosed with, maybe she would not have killed her 3 kids.
So
Sorry.
just so everyone knows, if nobody knows this case, is a woman who had postpartum depression. They prescribed her a bunch of drugs, said, you need to do this. The biggest argument after she murdered her 3 kids was that she was in like a drug-induced like coma when she did it. And then they looked at the drugs she was given. She took 1/3 of it. And her husband had been doing everything. He took off of work. He did everything he could. What she did was we literally have her Googling how long it takes to go to here, go to here, go to here. She sent him out on a little jaunt. And while he was gone, murdered her 3 children by choking them to death with exercise bands.
Wow.
And here's the worst part. After she murdered the first one, she called her husband to see where he was, and then Googled how long does it take to complete the rest of the trip, and then murdered her other 2 children.
Jeez.
In the trial, her and her lawyers have already admitted that she did it. Nobody's questioning that she did it, but if you go on social media, there are so many women acting like there's evidence that the husband did it or that she was manipulated. It is the ultimate run from accountability. She murdered 3 kids, and women are trying to act like it didn't happen.
Wow.
Yeah, it's insane.
Wow.
Good grief.
Okay, that's kind of wild. Okay. Woo. Can you share my daughter's prayers for Charlie Kirk? Okay. Now, please keep in mind, we don't see everything, and the live chat is insane. Shout out to the live chat. So I'm reading these right here in real time. So God bless Joe's first grade teacher. Poor woman. Dang. How your first grade teacher catches strays, man?
I did
She
get
never
expelled
debates
from
you, Joe.
elementary school, so you're right.
Keep this dance going. She'd never debate you, Joe. I agree. Where's Diligent's receipt now that Candace Owens put it on him? That's a good point. Josh Carr did a poll after the debate. At the time, 9% of the previous Candace supporters changed their minds about her. Okay, shout out for sure. Thank you for that. Gonna need that hat, dude. Been in the 7K club forever. Thank you for the 2.
You know, that's something I thought about with her backtracking on a lot of these claims. Not that she outright said they're not, but she did go soft on it. That really does throw all of her lemmings under the bus.
Yep.
You know, when they've been running with it full steam ahead, now they kind of look like a jackass. But
I kind of wonder. I would love to hear, like, where does the exploding mic crowd land now?
Well, they should land the same place, because an explosion has smoke. Like, guys, like, y'all tell me a shape charge. I am a 10-year veteran, 7 years in special operations. I can promise you I have seen a shape charge. I have made a shape charge. It makes smoke. Like, it's an explosion. It makes smoke, people. So when you say there was a shape charge, and I have footage from 2 foot away, and there's no smoke, bitch, there ain't no shape charge.
that's it.
I mean, that, and I think Rhodes should sue her too.
No, I mean,
For
the reality
misfortune.
is this. If you have an explosion, you have smoke.
Yeah.
There is no smoke. Like, I would buy into it. If you said there was a shape charge, I got you. But there has to be smoke. There is no explosive we have on Earth that doesn't have smoke.
No, right. Oh, the super chats ask if y'all think Jeff was guilty. Don't know what he would be innocent of at all. I'm sorry. All I know is as a Jew, I want my 7K club hat. Okay, the hat is going to be the MVP of the stream, man.
Right,
the hat is usurping the stream.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send 100 of these hats to Jen, and then Gary can sell them.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
I can dig that.
Set one aside for me, Jen. I'll buy one.
Yes, sir.
No, you ain't a Jew. I'm just kidding. No, I'm going
Y'all are wild.
Jen, I'm going to send you 100 of these. Gary can put it out there.
Okay, we got you.
I
And
like
can
it.
I just say thank you to all of the guests tonight, and a special thank you to JWhit, who was an amazing guest host,
Hey, appreciate it.
moderator. Thank you to our chat. Thank you to our mods. Best
Absolutely.
JWhit, you and I, we got to fight about the best chat on the internet. But since
We don't have to fight.
Since we
We don't
have
have-
so much overlap,
We have our own theme song, though.
I'm just going to point out.
Wait, hold on.
I didn't hear Gary start with a prayer.
this is true. I'm gonna hold him to that, JWhit.
Hold on. Oh, no, wait, hold on. I'm going to show you. Now, I call my live chat the best live chat on the internet and the most electrifying comment section for a reason. And I'm going to bring up why I say that. Hold on one second. I want y'all, because I'm not just saying this in hyperbole. I'm not saying this because I have nothing better to do. Is this it? Oh, yeah. You know, I got to put my glasses on.
He's only saying this because he saves time doing his hair.
That's a good point. That's a very keen observation that you have there, sir. I do. I save a lot of time doing that. But no, we don't have to fight about it because it's the truth. This is the most electrifying comment section. I do have it. It's okay. It's perfectly okay. Not everybody can be number one. It's all right. Where is this video? Oh, I have it in my StreamYard, but I can't pull it up in here for whatever
Well,
reason.
I hated that every time I commented in the chat, it said this did not go to JWhit's chat.
Why not? Were you saying something bad about me?
No, it's racial. It didn't.
Oh, no.
really go.
Oh, that's even worse now. Now I want to know what you were saying. I have no idea why I can't pull this video up. All right, come on to my channel. I'll play it over on my channel. Shout out. No, Jen, thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. Thank you to Jared. Thank you, of course, Joe, to Claire, to Beard, as well as Nish. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I had a blast. It's the first time I've done a show with you, Joe. It was enjoyable. I've done one or two with JWhit.
This is my last one with Joe. I'm going to lie. Joe going to get me caught up on church. Joe going to get me up on church discipline tomorrow, man. I'm going to be up on church discipline.
Look, I'm going to church tomorrow too, and I'm asked for a lot of forgiveness. It's fine. Look, but we can do all things through Christ who strengthens us and forgives us.
Fair enough, man.
Amen.
Look, if Jesus didn't want me to say this, he'd strike me down, but he knows I got tomorrow to get this shit forgiven.
This dude is out of control. Joe. I love Joe.
Oh, gosh. It's
I promise you, I'm a hitting church too.
Where can everybody be found? Where can the chat go? Follow you guys, and then we got to get off of here because I got to get up early in the morning.
Oh my Lord, you one of them people with jobs.
It's
Well, you
Sunday.
can find me at the JWhit podcast on YouTube. I'm on X as well as on Facebook under the JWhit podcast on Facebook and Mr. JWhit on X. What about you, my friend Jared?
You can find me at Continue Freedom. I'm over on YouTube, Rumble, and X. I'm on the other platforms, but I never post over there. So
yeah, I'm not.
And you can find me on every platform. I'm the older millennial. I routinely start a podcast and cancel it because I'm too fucking lazy to do shit in a row. But you can find me anywhere. I love yelling at people. I love having a good time. If you find me on the social media platform, hit me up.
I got you. Joe, now, these hats, by the way, we'll talk offline. I do need to ask about these hats. We
All
will
right,
get it
so
done.
everyone, you can go follow all of the guests and JWhit as the guest host down in the description. Please, please, please share this content, clip it up, share it to everyone, anywhere, on any platform, and, go get your 7K from, BB. And
Go
tell
get your
them
7K.
we will be back Monday night with Gary. Yay! He's back from vacation. So we will
Shout out to
be
Gary.
airing a show Monday night. We'll see you all then. Thanks so much. You guys on the panel, don't go anywhere. The rest of the chat, thank you so much. We'll see you Monday.
See.